Sit back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device. All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It Sports Show. It is Wednesday, April the 27th, 2022. Jersey Johnny coming at you with me, as always.
And
It's
so
none other
sorry.
than these two gentlemen, RadioPete and Mr. Harry Lug Nutz. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
That's better than last week.
We just have to figure out who goes second, third.
I think you should go second, Pete, and John will go third.
I should probably be the bass.
Harry's
Hello.
Hello.
You don't go lower.
No, that's not. It's not that low. The Three
Hello.
Stooges
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. There you go.
There you go.
Let's just keep going up.
Let's just keep practicing this.
We'll do three, and then whoever started does higher, and we'll just keep going until we can't go any higher.
There you go.
Hello.
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 Hello. Hello. I think we maxed out. All right. Now that everybody that was tuning into the audio broadcast has already shut it off.
No, there was nobody tuning in.
Well, this is true.
I think we had another third in us.
Well, before we go too far, and before we lose all three of our listeners, we need to wish Mr. Jersey Johnny a happy birthday tomorrow.
Yay! Happy birthday!
So happy birthday!
Thank you.
67, I believe.
68.
68.
Oh wow!
Next year is the really important one.
Yes, it is. It is.
Where everything's upside down and backwards.
Upside down and backwards.
But
Just
a
the way I like
whole
it.
lot of fun.
Oh yeah, gotta love it.
Well, yeah, but then you have, of course,
The cleanup afterwards.
71. Which,
That's right.
We all know what that is.
you know what George Carlin says about what 71 is.
All right,
Yes,
exactly.
Yes,
Yes, he does.
Yes. Well, you have 2 years after that to buy a tarp.
Exactly. All right. We're covered.
And
Well, we will be then at that
and
point.
to loosen up.
That's right.
Limber up.
Limber up there. Limbo maniacs.
So, what are we starting with today?
We're going to start with the beer I'm drinking, actually.
Yeah.
I'm having I feel like a beer tonight. I mean, I had one last week and the week before too, but I'm having from Carton Brewing. I'm having St. Kitts Coffee. It's an imperial cream ale brewed with coffee and coconut, aged in rum barrels. So this should be this should be nice and tasty.
So coffee.
Where is that brewery from?
Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey.
Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey.
Yeah.
And coconut.
All these breweries popping up in South Jersey.
Yeah. These guys have been open for this August to be 11 years.
11 years.
Mm-hmm.
Atlantic Highlands. Hello, Atlantic Highlands.
Hello, Atlantic Highlands. Yes, they're a pretty tasty brewery down there.
Let's get a look at it. Let's
obligatory picture. Hold on.
give us
I'm drinking wine from a box.
You know what it goes good with a good box of wine, right?
A can of cheese.
Nice can of cheese, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Whoa.
Look at that.
Look at that. Pretty tasty.
Wow.
That's more head than the Kardashians at an NBA All-Star game.
This is true. Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
Very good. Oh, that's nice. You can taste the coffee. You can taste the coconut and a little bit of rum too. That's very nice. All right, I'll enjoy that.
So yeah. So
I'll sip on that for a bit. How's your wine?
Adequate.
Adequate. Good. I always love a good box of adequate.
I don't think it's quite spoiled yet.
That's always a good thing.
Yeah.
So it's right at the peak of its potency.
It is, yes.
Exactly.
Tomorrow it'll make a very good salad dressing.
I like doing that. I like doing that with orange juice too, right? When orange juice is just past its prime. So it has a nice little bit of a kick.
It's like a self-contained mimosa, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a
It's
carburetor.
I don't need
it's a
any
carburetor
alcohol.
cleaner.
I don't need any alcohol. This is already fermented.
That's right.
Exactly.
Cleans the pipes out and your plumbing.
I have some water in a.
Get you with your water bottle.
Yeah, well, I wanted the big one, but they were all out. So
that's what your wife said.
Yeah,
she wants the big one, but
listen,
they were
I
all
showed
out.
up for the wedding, not the other guy. So
that's right.
You have to take what
Sometimes
you
showing up is half the battle.
That's exactly right.
Well, that was the one guy said that he asked his wife if he was the only one she'd ever been with, and she said yes. All the others were 9s and 10s. Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. So there you go.
Nice.
That's the way it is. Anyway, all right. Let's get going with some sports talk here.
right.
Let's breeze through baseball really quick. Get that out
All
of the
right,
way.
let's
I
talk
only have
about.
one. I only
Oh.
have. Well, I want to mention congrats to the Mets. They've won their six.
Okay,
First
what are you going to jinx things
series.
for? Why are you doing
Well,
that?
I'm not the only one that said it. What if my
I
words are
know,
going to
but
jinx
you're
it?
the fan.
Well, they lost today.
Well, yeah, but it didn't matter because they already won the
still won
series.
the
'cause they won
series.
the first two. So they won their
Was it
first
6 in a row?
Six series in a row to start the season. It's the first time they've ever done that in 61
Yep.
years.
This is the 30-second countdown to when Jersey Johnny complains about the Mets getting thrown at.
Exactly. Well, no, you know what? I'm even going to talk about the Mets getting thrown at because they've been thrown at 20 times already in 20 games.
19.
It's been not 19 times in 20 games, but whatchamacallit, and Pete Alonso twice in the head. This is ridiculous. But what I do want to say is it's clearly, look, there aren't 19 pitchers out there that want to take the Mets' heads off.
I think it's a little circumstantial.
There's something wrong with these balls. Okay. There's something wrong with Major League Baseball.
Let me just ask you guys a question. How many? What Don Baylor's on base percentage, if he was playing this year, would have been like 1250. He would have been batting 154 with an on base percentage of over 1,000.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's ridiculous. These guys are throwing baseballs that should not be in use.
Well, look, we already talked about pitchers, right? No pitchers can throw 6 innings, right? The shortened spring training. Everybody's still ramping up. Control is obviously part of that. Plus, we don't even know who was using a sticky substance and who wasn't. We know some who were, but how widespread was that? So there's adjustments being made. But
yeah,
and also I think that, I mean, back in our day, if you got plunked, it was on the leg or on the ass or something like that. Very rarely. I mean, it was a cardinal sin to go for the head.
Yeah.
That was. You never sent a message by going for the head.
And if
you wanted a message, if you were an asshole who wanted to take somebody out,
and if you
now I think it's more acceptable to kind of be up and in, which again sometimes that leads to guys getting.
It's still very rare. It's still very rare.
It's still very dirty, but I don't think it's quite the same as it was.
Pro athletes, all you big macho bullshit artists. If you're gonna fight, fucking fight.
Right.
Okay. Reggie Jackson didn't fucking stand at the plate and curse and tell him to do it again. No, we went out and grabbed the guy around the neck and pummeled him and the benches waited a few minutes.
Right. Let them do their thing first. Now we'll go out.
Goose Gossage was jumping over the dugout fence to come run into the infield.
Well, no, 9 guys were piling onto the golf cart.
They were drinking. They were watching through the little hole. It's like a peep show. They didn't give a shit. They knew these guys could handle their business. Come on.
Well, you know what though? You're right.
By the way, the Mets look great. I mean, not to. And it's not the big acquisitions. It's that next rung of acquisitions that they got that are just doing exactly what I thought they would do because they're the same bastards that I wanted the Yankees to get.
Right, exactly. Yeah, everybody's playing the role. Everybody's doing the part. I mean, that game, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that game on Monday night. All right, they were down. They were losing 2-0 down to their last strike, and they won the game 5-2. That you can't. That's one for the ages.
They're hot. They're hot. And their needs to stop because the division are going to obviously play better ball as time moves on here. So.
Did you get any of that, Pete?
Hang on, let me get my Morse code.
All right.
Love technology.
Yeah, break it up just a wee bit.
Just a wee bit, yeah.
I think what he said is
they're good.
The Mets are really one of the worst teams in baseball, and they're hiding behind good pitching. I'm pretty sure that's what he said.
Gotcha.
Yes.
They're a sham. It's a facade, and they'll be exposed soon enough. That's what I got out of it.
Baseball team.
Right.
Baseball team.
Baseball team.
Okay.
So it's Dark Helmet, right? And
Buck Showalter is
Buck Showalter is Dark Helmet.
Here's the only thing I'll say about the beating and all that stuff. Nolan Arenado is a pussy.
Oh yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
He's a pussy, and I think
pretty talented.
He's a very talented pussy.
I think he was more.
He
upset.
comes from a long line of. Never mind.
I think he was more upset about who threw at him than the fact that he was thrown at, because he said he knew it was coming. It wasn't obviously. It was not a pitch that was intended to hit him. Right. And it wasn't really that close. Now it's easy for me to say when you're standing up there and it's coming in at 90 plus, but that was not that close. And I think he was pissed because who was it that threw at him? Some kid,
right?
Not some veteran, not a superstar, some kid. And I think his attitude is, "Who the fuck are you to throw at me?
Right.
I'm Nolan Arenado. I'm one of the biggest stars in this game." I think that's what really got him pissed off.
Right.
I don't think it was the pitch itself, because he even said he knew it was coming.
Gotcha.
So, whatever. He's a wuss. And gotcha. Buck Showalter is, as far as I'm concerned, he's already earned his money for this season. Just the way he has handled things.
Sure.
And, I don't know if you heard any quotes from him, but they asked him about Arenado's reaction, and he said, let the other team has to take care of their guys. Our guy, referring to Pete Alonso, he said, our guy got hit in the head and went to first base.
Mm-hmm.
Which
is exactly what happened.
Is exactly the right thing to say, because he first says, well, I'm not going to judge the other team. That's up to them.
Right.
But then he does exactly that.
Right.
By pointing out the good example that Pete Alonso set versus the shit example that Nolan Arenado, who didn't even get hit, set.
He judges the other team by not saying anything.
Right. He says, I'm not going to judge them. And then he does exactly that by praising Pete Alonso.
Right.
It was. I think it's just the brilliance of Buck Showalter. It was quote of the year so far.
It was really
so. He's earned his money for this year, and
true.
Look, and this team, they go out and they take care of business, and that's they're that's I think reflective of the guy who's who's managing this team.
I agree 100%. And I would be remiss if I didn't give kudos to Harry's team. I did right just in time. He bounces out just in time for me to do that. Well, while he's off really quick. No.
Yeah. No. Yankees are doing great. Well, are they second or second place still?
Second place, yeah. I mean, would they win 12-4 yesterday or 12? Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was
they've 31 runs in the last 4 games.
Well, listen, the Orioles suck, but that's what the Yankees ought to do to the Orioles.
That's what they got. But
that's what every other team in the AL East ought to do to the Orioles, is beat.
And
the
that's
shit
what
out
they've
of them.
done.
Yeah,
exactly.
Every time they play them. So
right.
Yeah,
you better now.
What the Stanton hit his
5,000,
350, I think. So
something like that. Yeah. So we're just talking. Yeah, we're just talking about the fact that the Yankees' offense is finally exploding too. So
the Yankees are winning despite all their problems.
The Yankees pitching looks fantastic. Eric Cole bounced back, and Nolan Arenado, I believe, makes $182,000 a game. For that much money, you can hit me in the head every day.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, they're wearing helmets.
Exactly.
So, actually, Michael Kay had a great line today. He was talking about Arenado getting hit by a young pitcher, and he said, "Well, maybe he'd like it better if Max Scherzer drills him in the ear hole." Because Scherzer has props,
right,
to be able to do that. So.
Well, I mean, he was that upset about the kid throwing at him.
I think that's what it was.
Well, to me, that says that if Max Scherzer hits him and wells him in the ear hole of the helmet, he's going to be okay with that, right? Because it's Max Scherzer.
Well,
that's okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Harry is still on the
Harry
spaceship.
Is Morse code from underwater.
You can't hear me.
No, you're breaking up.
We can hear. It sounds like that, basically.
Your voice is perfect for the witness protection program.
Actually, what we were doing before with Pete, that would have been perfect for you.
Yeah,
that would have been spot on. That's exactly.
We shouldn't have joked about that.
Translate, Pete.
He may have to start his own podcast where he doesn't have to, log in or talk to us losers. I'm not much of a lip reader, but that's what I got.
I got it. He said, keep going. He said, that's what he said. He said to keep going.
Keep going without him He's going to run out to Best Buy and get himself a new computer.
Come back, tune it up, hook it up.
Probably won't be back for this show because it's got a lot of updates.
No. Actually, by the end of the show, he might be back with all the updates.
You and I could probably drag this out to 3.5 hours.
Sure. Yeah, that would work.
You're
Imagine
frozen.
if we did that. See, just to see how long it would take. Leave, go to Best Buy, buy a computer, come back, hook it up, install everything, set everything up, and come back on the show before we're
back
done.
in the show. Oh man, you know what? I'll save the pickleball update until Harry gets back.
You better.
He's going
to be upset about it. He's going to be upset.
There's your incentive.
He's restarting his computer. That's what he's doing.
Yeah. Okay. So
I have one question, baseball, and then we can move on to the quiz, and then we can move on to the draft because that's why we're all here tonight, right? For the draft. So, I will. We can vamp a little bit on the Mets based on that. While we're waiting for Harry to come back before I ask the question. I can ask you and then him separately. So
I could probably answer for him.
Okay. Well, we'll do it.
If I just did it intelligently and reasonably, that would be his answer. And then I would give my answer, which is the opposite of
Which is the exact opposite of what he would say. Yeah. And there you go. Right.
Yeah. No, we'll wait for him to come back.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, the Mets are, hey, knock on wood, this keeps going. I mean, if they're for real and this is going to keep chugging along. Clearly, Buck is a big part of it. So are the acquisitions they've had this year. And let's hope we keep going. But the starting pitching that they're getting without DeGrom is amazing. So it's a beautiful thing. And then these, if you think about it, and I mean, they lost a game that Bassett started. He's back. Let's see if it works. Is it going to work? Well, let's see.
1, 2. Is it working? Who knows?
Maybe. Sounds better a little bit. Did you restart the computer or just the program? Harry?
Yes.
Oh, you're good. Okay. It's working good. All right. So, all right. I said, so let's hope, Met fans wise, let's hope it keeps going. So here's my question. This is a question for both of you, and then we can move on to the quiz and move on to some draft talk.
We got to talk about something else first.
Oh, that's fine. But my question, that's true. You have that one thing.
Yeah.
My question to you guys is this. Both of you, please tell me your opinions. Should Major League Baseball come up with some form of a substance that they can deem legal for pitchers to use for control? Maybe not the spider tack. Maybe not the whole Vaseline and suntan lotion and Vagisil or anything like that. Something that's not going to give an unfair advantage and, more drop in the pitch and so forth like that, but just a controlled substance.
So you want them to put cocaine on the ball?
Exactly. It rubs it on there. But you know what I'm saying? It's something they can actually deem legal that's not going to affect the ball that much, just going to affect the control that they have with it. What do you think?
No,
they shouldn't?
I think so.
Well, I mean, look, why is this all of a sudden an issue for human beings that throw baseballs to control it?
What I want to know is why. Here's my question. The big question above any of that. My question is this. Why do they change the baseballs every year?
I don't know.
What's wrong with the baseballs they used the year before?
Well, I think they do it to try and adjust for shortcomings of the game. And their definition of shortcomings of the game is what can we do to get more people to watch or spend money and come out to the park. That's what it's all about. So
then just make the balls out of, remember when we used to get those pinkies, the rubber balls that bounced like 5 million miles?
Super pinky, yeah.
Just make them out of that.
But you can't.
So every time you hit the ball, it's out of the park.
Home runs are down and the game's better for it.
I agree.
But it's a tinkering process, because if they do that, right? Mm-hmm. Because what everybody's like, people talk about the NFL, right? And now it's all offense and there's no defense, and defensive backs are helpless because they can't touch anybody, et cetera, et cetera. So you go too far and people don't like that. So it's a tinkering process.
Here's the argument to it, is that batters are allowed to wear batting gloves, which is not a lot. I guess some do, not many. And they're able to put pine tar on their bat, as long as it's not too high.
Right.
Yeah. Does anybody use that anymore? I guess some guys still do, right?
Yeah, no, they do.
Oh, yeah.
Look at Mark. I mean, some of them have it all over their helmets too.
Yeah. So the question is,
so the top of their helmets don't slide off the bottom of their helmets. That's what it's up there for.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So the question is, why can't the pitchers do it? But the pitchers have never legally, except for rosin, being able to put anything on their hands. So if they want rosin, put rosin. Rub dirt on your hand. The dirt's legal. If you can't throw a baseball, then you can't throw a baseball. I don't think the control has anything to do with the lack of a substance. And this whole thing about Garrett Cole and his spin rate was exactly the same in the last game as it was in the previous games. So he's not using Spider Tack again. He just got pissed and realized, oh shit, I have to concentrate and actually fucking pitch.
Right.
Well, and it's nice to get some runs too.
This is true too.
And that was the problem. Is I think
it goes a long way for your psyche
and blew the shutout.
Right.
Because they were. I mean, I don't even know who those last three pitchers were.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm saying if you feel like your offense is going to score for you, then there's a lot of pitchers that they feel like DeGrom. If he feels like if I give up 2 runs, we're going to lose because the offense is not going to get anything for me. Makes a pitcher tight. It's harder to pitch.
Right.
If
Aaron Boone finally learned what every 12-year-old knows is that you put your best contact hitter up first, not somebody who's hitting 146, who gets on base and has the highest on base percentage on the team. You let him lead off. You put your second best, your best power hitter second, and you go from there. Look, Rizzo's hitting for a lot of power. Stanton's not doing bad. Hicks, until his latest injury, has been back, at least to form of what we expected.
I did hear though that Aaron Hicks and Ben Simmons are going to actually form a club for disabled sports figures. But yeah.
What does Aaron Hicks have to do with Ben Simmons?
Well, he always gets hurt, and Ben Simmons has been hurt for about 9 years.
Ben Simmons is a head case. Aaron Hicks is out because I think his wife's having a baby.
Is that what it is? That's not an injury.
No.
Well, of sorts.
Yeah. His wallet's going to hurt, but his back's fine.
He's going to want to get back and play. Although I will say, what did the Yankees hit, like 5 home runs yesterday or whatever it was?
Yeah.
There was 5
it's just how they. I mean, yeah, they had
how they always do it.
A couple guys on base, right? But they're doing what they always do, but they were doing it better,
right?
And against the loud.
Yes, yesterday it actually mattered. Usually they like to pile on home runs when they're up 8-0.
Right.
But look, Severino didn't have a great start, but they scored enough runs to support him getting into the 6th inning.
Was it 12? Was it 12-5 or something like that, or 12-6 or whatever it was? I mean, he gave up. 12-8. Oh, yes, 12-8. You're right. So I mean, you think about that. If they didn't score those 12 runs, they only scored. Oh, they had a great showing. They scored 7 runs, but they lost.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, which is going to happen. Yeah. But the Yankees' ERA has been off the charts. I mean, literally, I think they had the 3rd best overall ERA, and a lot of that was on their bullpen.
Right.
So I'm not complaining. I think Kiner Falefa is. You couldn't ask for anything better at the shortstop position right now. I think they're hurting offensively at the catcher position. I don't think Josh Donaldson is the answer at third base. And Joey Gallo, yes, he hit a home run yesterday and only struck out once. That is a big thing to get his confidence going. And I like Joey Gallo. I think he's a good defensive player. You can't have your left hitter hitting 126. Mm-hmm. And strike. And the other part of it is that the Yankees were averaging, I believe, between 10 and 12 strikeouts a game. Yeah. And when they started winning and playing a little bit more small ball and their on-base percentage goes up, imagine that. They start to win games. And
it's almost like a formula.
It's almost like a formula.
Imagine that. Imagine how that works.
Right. So, and,
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, look, we both teams in New York.
They're still not as good as Toronto, but if their pitching holds up, they'll be okay.
They're looking good, and we're gonna see where it takes them. I mean, it's a beautiful thing right now. So hopefully they both continue down the paths that they're going and they don't stray from that, and we'll keep an eye on it. Pete, you have your report.
Oh, the Pete's report.
Well, are we going to talk about the Yankee cheaters?
Well, that's what you wanted to talk about, right?
Yeah. Listen, not whatever. They were using
this report was from like 2015, though. Like, it was before the.
No, it was. Oh, let me see. Yeah, I think I pulled up the thing.
2015, 2016, or whatever. It was before the whole.
All right, so this is the. So there was a lawsuit by DraftKings, and this letter being released as a was going to be unsealed anyway because of that lawsuit, but it's been released, I guess, by Major League Baseball. So basically, it says that the Yankees were using their replay room to look at catcher signs and figure out what the signs were, and then they were relaying that to guys that were on base so that they could tip off the batters.
Good. Keep doing it.
And then also, this was during 2015 and 2016, and they were also using, in some cases, I guess, where the replay room was kind of too far down the hall, maybe a little bit out of garbage can range, you might say. They were using the dugout phone to relay the messages. So, okay, whatever. They were cheating. The Red Sox were cheating. The Astros were cheating. This, to me, doesn't, is not to be put on the same level as what the Astros were doing. The Red Sox were using like a wristwatch or something.
Isn't everybody using Twitter now? Is that what it was?
Twitch. They're using Twitch.
Twitch, TikTok.
What's interesting?
They were using Twitter, but Elon Musk decided they couldn't use it anymore. So.
Is that in 2017, Rob Manfred basically lied and said that the Yankees hadn't cheated. He covered it up, which I find interesting. So to me, the story is not so much, the Yankees were, trying to get a competitive advantage. Let's call it that. And maybe there were a whole bunch of other teams that were doing the same thing. Who knows? But what is interesting is that Manfred, for whatever reason, covered it up. And nobody, at least the general public, had no idea that this was going on. So,
and why is DraftKings involved with this?
They had
they lost money because of the over-under on.
I think they
Gary Sanchez's doubles in a season.
Maybe
pretty much. It was all prop bets.
I think they were probably has something to do with their business, but it also might have been just like a public information thing or
annoyance. Yeah.
They're saying this should have been public. It was kept from the public. In fact, it was a lie, and they felt it was
their duty to bring it to light.
People have been stealing signs forever.
Yeah,
many different ways.
It's not, to me, it's not so surprising. It's just the interesting thing is that Rob Manfred, what's his title? Press secretary? No.
Rob Manfred?
Yeah, he's
the commissioner.
Oh, yeah, the commissioner of baseball. Would hide this from the general public and the media and the news.
Press secretary.
Well, I'm trying to think. Maybe he's just some underling who made a mistake. He's a Yankee fan. He said, "I don't think I'm going to tell anybody."
I think he would have done it.
You're right.
I think he would have done it for any team because he doesn't want.
He doesn't want that out there.
The bad publicity.
I agree. I don't think he's doing it for the Yankees. I think he was doing it for baseball. At the time anyway. I mean, it was back then. It was before all the shit blew up with the Astros and everything else, and then the Red Sox.
Okay, so. All right, so that doesn't that
just like if it got to be too much, then obviously it had to come to a head. But if it was like one isolated incident that came to light, covered it up, took care of it in house, and it didn't happen again, it
was a continuous thing that happened over at least parts of 2 seasons. Right. All right, during the 2015 season and part of the 2016 season. So here's the real point. When he thought he could hide it and cover it up, he did. But then the Red Sox fucked up and the Astros fucked up, and whoever that pitcher that they got rid of, started yapping his mouth, and the whole thing blew up, and then it got too big.
Remember the good old days where people could keep their fucking mouths shut?
Right. Yeah. Let me put it to you this way, though. It was the entire 2015 season, right? Right. All right. And part of the 2016 season, but the entire 2015 season. Okay. Now, if memory serves, and I know it's 7 years ago, but if memory serves, the World Series that year was the Mets and the Royals. The Yankees were not in it.
Yeah, well, I didn't say they were good at it.
No, but this is my point. So yeah. So
I understand, but
you still have to hit the ball. You still have to touch the ball.
But that's not a valuable
throw the ball.
It's not so bad because it didn't work. It was a lousy system, so it's still. And again, what was unusual in the Yankees' case is that they were using the phone.
Right.
It's one thing if they were just yelling down the hall or whatever. So if anything, they were using technology as opposed to a garbage can. But again, what the Astros did, that was
how long until some IT kid is going to be able to steal the transmissions from whatever?
You got to figure that
wristband shit.
Yeah, that pitch thing. Somebody's going to hack into that. So
stupid.
I don't know. It's I think you're right. I don't think it was specifically because it was the Yankees, but again, to me, this story is about Rob Manfred, and I know he's trying to protect the game and all that, but still, I mean, this is bad. This is bad when the commissioner of the league is covering up known cheating,
right,
until it can't be covered up anymore, as in the case with Boston and the Astros. And then it's like, oh, now we're going to crack down on him. And now this comes out, and he seems even more flaccid and flatulent than ever, right? Because now it's like, you
flaccid and flatulent.
Yeah.
That sounds like a horrible.
He's soft.
Sounds like a horrible Friday night.
He's soft. Well, we call that Thursday here in the Minetti household, but he
thought it was Sunday through Saturday.
He's soft and weak, and what he says should not be taken seriously.
Right? All right, so he's bound to be the next president.
Probably. So anyway, it's not so much about the Yankees. Whatever. You're right. They've been stealing signs and looking for new ways to do it, and everybody's looking for that competitive advantage. But this is the fucking commissioner of the game,
right?
Who's sweeping it under the rug until it's a noticeable lump in the rug.
Dear Yankees,
that's not good.
Please help Joey Gallo and steal as many fucking signs as you possibly can. And maybe steal the pitcher's wallet or something to distract him. I don't know what else you can do. But boy, he needs help. Is it cheating if you're hitting 126 and they help you with a few little signs?
Yeah, you mentioned before that Aaron Boone finally got it, and he took somebody that was not hitting 145 and put him in the leadoff spot.
Yeah.
Here, in Aaron Boone's defense, there have been many points in the season where most of the Yankees were hitting 145. Yeah. So you kind of can't help but put somebody that's hitting 145.
Except their leadoff hitter for the last 3 years and the guy who won the batting title 2 years ago, and their most consistent hitter for average and on base percentage.
Well, make no mistake. I'm not putting him down, because there's been plenty of times where the Mets were hitting 125 on average.
Right.
So
you can't put him up first, because then he'll get more at bats than everyone else. Right. That doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Right. Got to be fair.
That might be a little glitch in the sabermetrics.
Got to be fair to it.
Don't play him at second base either, even though he's your best second baseman.
Yeah. Well, listen, Glaber drove in a couple runs the other day, right?
One.
But he had a 2-run double. He hit 2 doubles. Maybe he drove in a run. Something, I don't know.
He drove in a run.
He did something good, so he'll be around for a while longer.
There you go. All right. We ready for the quiz?
Sure.
To the draft?
Yes. What substances should be allowed for pitchers to use?
Top 5 substances. I'm going to give you 6, and we got to pick 4.
You got to pick 4.
1 is rice-a-roni.
Pine
2 is SpaghettiOs with Frankfurters.
3
is lemon fresh pledge.
Fresh guacamole.
Cool Whip.
Remember when they wouldn't let the pitchers lick their fingers?
Yeah.
Right? You could blow on your hand, but you couldn't lick your fingers, right?
By the way, are any of the Perry boys still alive? Because they seem to be able to use substances for their whole career and never got caught.
Yeah.
So there's no knuckleball pitchers anymore. Tim Wakefield retired.
There were a lot of Mets on the '86 team that used substances too, but a lot of them weren't pitchers. Though.
Right. It never made it to their hand other than their long nail on their pinky fingers.
Right. Exactly.
They must have been playing a lot of classical guitar.
Exactly. Yeah, flamenco. They were all. It was in the locker room after the game.
Yes.
It was like they had
Anthrax.
Jam. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Here is the quiz for this week. Major League Baseball. We're on the kick of Major League Baseball pitchers. We're going to do one more week of this after this one, but and we'll switch it up. But Major League Baseball pitchers, 1980 to 1990. So 1980s.
Good
pitchers
years.
In the 80s.
Good years.
4 stay, 2 go. Give me a 6. 4 got to stay. 2 got to go.
We know.
All right. All right. Write these down.
How many? Is it 6 this week?
6 stay, 4 go.
Forgo what?
I'm giving you 12. 6 stay, 4 go.
All right.
Exactly. All right. Here we go. Write these down. My favorite pitcher from the 80s, name to say, Oral Hershiser. Oral Hershiser. Fernando Valenzuela.
Ooh, 2 Dodgers out of the gate.
Absolutely. Dr. K.
Krasinski?
Are we talking Doc Gooden?
Doc Gooden.
Oh.
Bringing it back to the substance abuse.
Exactly. Well, you know. Brett Saberhagen.
Oh, man. Sabes. Old Bleachy.
Yeah. Steve Carlton.
Ooh. Lefty, right? Wasn't that his nickname?
I believe so. Last I checked. And rounding it out with Bert Blyleven.
Well, now that last one just kind of was a bit of a wrench. This was easy up until then.
There you go. So Oral Hershiser, Fernando Valenzuela, Dwight Gooden, Brett Saberhagen, Steve Carlton, and Bert Blyleven. So Radio Pete, kick us off.
All right. Fernando's out.
Okay.
He was a phenom, and he had a great first half of that wonderful year. The second half, not so much. Guys kind of figured him out. Good guy, though. I liked him.
Sure.
Looking up, right? His eyes all screwed up or whatever. But he's out. And see, Blyleven, I know nothing about. Now, whether that means normally I would get rid of him or keep him.
He pitched for a long time, and
yeah.
I mean,
like I would think
his best years were arguably. Yeah, I don't know. He had a weird career.
Yeah, I'm going to keep him though. Because I again couldn't tell you numbers. I have a feeling Saberhagen was quote unquote a better pitcher, but he was a dick, so he's out.
Okay, so irrational thoughts with Pete.
Well, you know how this goes. So sorry, Fernando, love you, but you got to go. And Sabes, bite me.
All right, so you are keeping
we got Oral, the Doc, Lefty, and Birdie Bly.
All right, Harry.
Well, look, Saberhagen had his best year in '89. He pitched more years in the '90s than he did in the '80s.
That was the other thing I was going to say about him. Didn't get a chance.
Bert Blyleven seems to have pitched for, I think, 45 years.
I think it was 46, actually, last I checked. Yeah. He edged out Nolan Ryan by 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to have to agree with Pete on this one. Blyleven's ERA was consistently pretty good for a really long time. And they're really comparable. I think those two that's about as neck and neck as you can get as far as even career achievements with Blyleven and Saberhagen. I just like Bert Blyleven because he was he was a part of the Pirates team, right? We Are Family. Wasn't he on that with those weird hats?
Yep.
With the shit on top of them and the cool pins and shit. Yeah.
Yep. They're all
just for that. I'm going to go irrational too, just because he wore those hats and was partnered up with Kent Tekulve. I'm going to give it to Bert Blyleven. But
Mariner.
Fernando was good for like 2 or 3 years, and then he just fizzled.
Yeah. He did. I don't mean to imply he only had one half of one good season.
And Steve Carlton might be the best on this list. Hershiser was amazing. Gooden was great, and
Gooden was great, but not for long enough.
Not for long. Gooden might be the third I would choose that would be off this list. To be honest with you, he was really, really good. I don't know. I still think he beat out Fernando. So yeah, I'm gonna keep Gooden and Hershiser and Bert Blyleven and Steve Carlton. Boy, Steve Carlton was probably top 10 all time, right?
The definition maybe of underrated.
Yeah. He's got to be. I think when we went through our pitchers list, he was pretty high up there on all of our lists.
He was.
Yep.
So,
wow.
All right,
a rare agreement.
Well,
now will we get the trifecta, Johnny?
Yeah.
What's who you're for?
Pete's hatred of Brett Saberhagen just happened to also correspond with logic. So this week we have a double doozy.
Well, listen, if I said Blyleven, he never sprayed anyone with bleach, and he had a cool hat.
Right.
That's essentially, half of what you said.
Essentially a good thing, right?
Yeah, and way more of a soundbite.
He never sprayed anyone with bleach, and he had a really cool hat.
Yeah. So he makes a list, and that's
he makes a list. Trifecta wise is in order. Yes, I would pick the exact same. I would go Hershiser,
there we go.
Gooden, Carlton, and Blyleven. Absolutely.
But FYI, Steve Carlton pitched from 1965 to 1988.
1994.
88.
88.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And foreshadowing, you know what? I actually, because I'm not going to tell you, but I have next week's list done already. And I was back and forth to put Carlton on next week's list or this week's list. Or, well, it's not next week because we'll do it, obviously, the week after. But the next list or this week's list. And the pitchers that I want on next week's list are the ones that are on next week's list for the 70s, obviously. So Carlton made the 80s. So
nice.
I mean, yeah. So.
Yeah,
he was going to make
329 wins at an ERA of 3.22.
Amazing.
Even though he was probably pitching into his mid 40s.
Mid 40s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
He always looked like he was 63 though. Those
even
guys always
even when he was
so
24.
older.
Yeah. Pictures of a young Steve Carlton, young-looking Steve Carlton.
They don't exist. Literally,
they're rare, very rare.
Four-time Cy Young, 10-time All-Star, Triple Crown winner, 2 times.
Kind of like who was that kid? It was that kid in the Bronx back in the early 2000s.
Oh, Almonte. Danny Almonte, the kid that was
Danny Almonte,
22.
Yeah,
he looked older.
22-year-old, 14-year-old,
part of the Rolando Paulino All Stars. He was.
Hey, by the way, this on this date in Major League Baseball history, and I believe it was 1982.
At least you got some music while you're thinking.
1982.
It's the thinking music in the back.
Reggie Jackson came back to Yankee Stadium for the first time since being traded to the California Angels. Yes, it was the California Angels. And he hit a upper deck home run off of Ron Guidry.
There you go.
Wow. Nice. A couple of pretty good lefties there.
Pretty good, man. Boy, imagine if you could freeze Ron Guidry and Reggie Jackson and bring them back into this lineup.
That would be good.
We wouldn't be talking about Garrett Cole.
No.
I wonder if Ron Guidry put anything on, like Louisiana hot sauce or something like that on the ball.
Yeah.
I think he put some gator juice on there or something.
He used Frank's. He put that shit on everything.
Yeah.
Gator spray.
Gator spray. Hey, Spider Tack. I use Gator spray.
Gator spray.
Every time I see highlights of Guidry, it's amazing how tiny he was. He's a small guy. But just an amazing pitcher. God. Anyway.
It's good. All right.
The good old days.
The good old days. All right. Let's shift into NFL. We have a very big day in the NFL coming up tomorrow, do we not?
I'm going to, look, it is a big day. And I'll be honest with you, I know nothing about it.
You don't?
I have been following it a little bit, but
I've been following it a lot. So
honestly, I was switching back and forth. Usually in the morning, I'll switch back and forth between Sports Center and the Canadian Sports Center and Get Up, which is on ESPN and ESPN2 and TSN3 or whatever it is.
Right.
And when they start talking about the draft, now the last couple of days, or at least this morning, I kind of listened a little bit because it's happening. But every day it was the first topic of discussion, like even, a week and a half ago. And I don't care. Until really yesterday, today maybe, and of course when it happens, not that interested. Not that interested.
And here's the reason why I know nothing about it. Is because the people that are on that get paid to talk on those shows also know nothing about it.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Because every person you ask has a different top pick, a different person going to a different team, who's great, who's a real risk, who's the best offensive lineman ever, who's going to drop to number 10.
Right.
I will say this, based on having seen him play, because he's played for a major team, okay, and watching the film that I have seen, I do think that it is going to be a mistake for any team to pass on Evan Neal. You heard it here first. I'm going to go out on a limb. whoever gets him is going to get, I think, the best offensive lineman in the last 5 years.
Well, why don't we take a look at the three of ours projections and see where we place Evan Neal on those lists? What do you think? All right. Who wants to go first? Whose list first? Harry or
Pete? You read it. You show him. I don't even remember what I picked.
All right, so we'll do Pete first. Here we go.
Yeah,
here's Pete's mock draft. Here we go. All right, there we go. So Pete has taking at the number 1 spot the Jacksonville Jaguars, has him taking Trayvon Walker, defensive lineman from Georgia. Then Detroit Lions, number 2, taking Aiden Hutchinson, an edge rusher from Michigan. The Texans are number 3, Ikwonu, right? Ikwonu, right? That's how you say it. Offensive tackle from North Carolina State. He's got the Jets taking Ahmad Sauce Gardner.
And I am hanging
on yours. So,
I'm hanging my head.
Because that's how you put it. You didn't put Ahmad Gardner. You put Sauce Gardner.
By the way,
and then you put Ugg afterwards too. I didn't put that in there.
Is edge just short for a defensive lineman who can't tackle on the run?
It's defensive end.
It's an end. Yeah,
well, I know, but they used to be called defensive linemen.
Well, I think when they
defensive end, but it's still a lineman.
Well,
if
you look at Walker, he's a defensive lineman, but he is not an end. I think they used it originally to designate that these guys were good pass rushers more than anything else,
I think it's
right?
Tweeners. It's mostly guys.
He's a defensive end, but he's really good at rushing the.
He's like a linebacker who puts his hand on the ground every once in a while.
I don't know. They should call him the LT. Honestly, that's what I think they should call him.
What was Michael Strahan?
Michael Strahan was Michael Strahan was a defensive end.
Okay, they never called him an edge.
Didn't call him an edge. No.
Well, that's what they call him now.
Now
I don't like it.
That's what they're calling him. So
sorry.
So you got Sauce Gardner, cornerback from Cincinnati, at the Jets, taking a number 4. Giants. He's got the Giants at number 5, taking Charlie Gross.
I hope you're wrong.
Offensive tackle from Mississippi State, passing on Evan Neal to the Carolina Panthers at 6 from Alabama. Obviously, he's got the Giants taking at 7 an edge rusher in Kayvon Thibodeau from Oregon. Excuse me, that's not gone; it's still there. At 8, the Falcons taking Jermaine Johnson III, edge rusher from Florida State. 9, Seattle taking Derek Stingley, cornerback from LSU.
Is that the best name ever for a cornerback?
Derek Stingley?
Stingley.
Yeah, that's a good name.
Stingley with the stinger.
I can't wait to hear Chris Berman's nickname for him.
Is Chris Berman still around?
Yeah, he does the recaps every Sunday night.
Who else in the NFL had a name similar to that? Daryl
Strawberry?
No.
When he was an edge rusher for the
NFL player, somebody was named
Stokely. Brandon Stokely.
No, it was close to Stingley, but it wasn't quite Stingley. I'll look that up.
You have to look it up.
Stringer?
I don't know.
Not quite sure. You check it out. And to round it out, Pete has at number 10 the Jets taking Drake London, a wide receiver,
also
from
great
USC.
name. Sounds like a punter, though, Drake London.
There you go. All right. Let's switch it up to Harry's picks. Here we go. So he's got, let's keep an eye on. So let's write these down so we can compare them.
Well, we got them right here.
We can go back and forth. I'm just, keeping an eye on them. He's got Evan Neal that you were taking. We'll go back and forth and look at the Giants picks and the Jets picks, but he's got Evan Neal going at 6 to Carolina. So let's see what Harry has. Here we go.
Oh, Daryl Stingley.
Is he related to Derek Stingley?
Probably.
Maybe it's his dad.
Maybe.
Or his mom.
Older brother, cousin, uncle, grandfather. You check it out. Anyway, Harry has Evan Neal going first overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Offensive tackle, obviously, out of Alabama. Lions taking Trayvon Walker, defensive lineman. At number 3, the Texans taking Mr. Stingley himself, cornerback. Number 4, the Jets picking Aiden Hutchinson, edge rusher. At number 5, the Giants taking Ikem Ikwonu. If the Giants take him, I promise I'll be able to say his name better, faster, more correct, easier. So,
let's hope it's not because you see the back of his jersey.
Probably, yeah, exactly right. He's got the Carolina Panthers taking. Kenny Pickett at 6, the quarterback out of Pittsburgh. He's got a quarterback going in the top 10 to the Panthers.
Bold prediction.
Bold prediction. There we go. He's got the Giants at number 7 taking Ahmad Sauce Gardner, cornerback out of Cincinnati. He's got the Falcons at 8 taking Jordan Davis, defensive tackle. He's got the Seattle Seahawks taking Jermaine Johnson III, edge rusher out of Florida State, and the Jets at number 10 taking Jameson Williams, wide receiver out of Alabama. There you go.
Nice. All right. By the way, Derek Stingley Jr. is the grandson of Darryl Stingley.
Grandson
of
and the son.
That's how old we are. Is that do we remember Darryl Stingley?
He's grandfather.
And the son of Derek Stingley, who played defensive back in the Arena Football League.
There you go.
So Darryl, he had 3 sons: Darryl Jr., John,
they tap their shoes. Darryl, brother Darryl, his other brother Darryl. Right?
Darryl, and then Derek, and then Derek had a son named Derek. So that is Darryl Stingley's grandson.
And refresh our memories. Darryl Stingley played for who and what?
Did he play for the Redskins?
Let's see. Let me pop this up here. Let's see. 60 regular season games for the Patriots. I think that was his whole career. I have to find a better source, but he had a decent career.
Darryl Stingley. What years?
I don't know. Let me see. Let me find a better source for his.
We can come back to it. Let's go on.
No. Keep talking. I'll keep looking.
Darryl Stingley played
2010 to 2018.
He played 73 to 77. 73 to 77 for the Patriots.
He was drafted last year. He's got a grandkid.
His career was ended with an on-field spinal cord injury.
Yeah. Hit by Jack Tatum?
Yep.
I think. Yep.
Wow.
So, there you go. All right.
Yep. That's too bad. So
it's a shame.
So he passed away at age 55 in 2007.
From he was a quadriplegic from the spinal cord injury. So he had heart disease and pneumonia or whatever.
Yep.
That sucked.
Oh, what a family history, though, huh?
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, really. What a tribute. We have a couple kids.
Well, let's say, you know what? I hope Derek Stingley kills it. Nope, you know what I mean.
I think I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be really good.
Yeah, I think so. Especially if he,
really good on
he goes 3rd overall as a cornerback to the Texans. If he winds up going, we'll see how that turns out. But,
well, that's really the only piece the Texans need is a good corner.
Good corner, and they're good to go.
They're ready to compete.
They're ready to go to the Super Bowl. They're ready.
Well, if he drops down and the Giants can get him, please, Giants, don't pass on Ekwonu or Neal if they're there. But in that next pick, if he is available, let's get the Stinger. Let's get the Stinger into the Meadowlands.
At the Stinger into East Rutherford. All right. Here are my projections. Here we go. Here's my mock draft. I have Trayvon Walker, so I'm agreeing with Pete, going 1st overall defensive lineman from Georgia to the Jags. Aiden Hutchinson going to the Lions at 2. Ahmad Sauce Gardner going to the Texans at 3. Kayvon Thibodeau going to the Jets at 4. Ekwonu going to the Giants at 5. Evan Neal going to the Panthers at 6. Stingley going to the Giants at 7.
Look at that. The Stinger in the Meadowlands.
See how that worked out? Garrett Wilson, wide receiver out of Ohio State, going to the Falcons at 8. Charles Cross.
A little bit of an underdog there.
Charles Cross, offensive tackle out of Mississippi, going to the Seahawks at 9. And again, agreeing with Mr. Radio Pete, the Jets taking Drake London, wide receiver out of USC at 10. So.
Now, let me ask Johnny this, or Pete can answer this as well, obviously. But, all right, so you have Ekwonu and Neal going back-to-back to the Giants and the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
If you had your choice, who would you rather have? Ekwonu, who's kind of a let's face it, he's kind of a guard who can play tackle, but probably would feel more comfortable as a guard, which the Giants can still use, and you can still. Or would you rather have Evan Neal?
I personally would rather have Evan Neal, but just from what I've been reading, what I've been seeing, what I've been hearing, the scouting reports from the Giants and everything else, I didn't just pick names.
Right.
I looked at it a little bit. I think they're leaning more towards Ekwonu.
Ekwonu's really athletic.
Yeah.
I mean, super. Maybe not as, maybe a little bit more of a work in progress, but very versatile.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Giants get either of those two, I'd be really happy.
Yeah, that versatility might be. I mean, wasn't it the Giants who at one point had like 4 out of their 5 offensive linemen like playing out of position?
Right.
Yep. Right. So, maybe that's something they're looking for, a guy that might be able to move around.
I just think if Neal can stay healthy, he is a monster. It's just
he is.
Just, and it's funny. It's funny how people have him down in the 8th, 9th, 10th spot, and I could be wrong. I think the only person who was as high on him as I was Mark Schlereth, who I think also maybe recently said he's going to go first to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mm-hmm. I feel pretty good knowing that Mark Schlereth and I agree on an offensive line.
All right. Well, that's good. I'm glad that worked out that way. I'm really
well, yeah.
If it was the 9th string quarterback with the big ears who was talking about it, then I wouldn't feel so good. What is his name? God, he's horrible.
Yeah. I know you're talking about. I can't remember saying that. Here's what I like about your picks, though, John.
What's that?
If it goes this way, at least if your number 4 pick is right for the Jets,
the Jets
two Thibodeaus in New York.
2 Thibodeaus in New York. Yes, absolutely.
Even though one of them is technically in Jersey, but still on New York teams, you'd have 2 Thibodeaus.
Well, for a year anyway, because if the Knicks don't do good next year, then they think Tim's will go bye-bye.
I'm going to assume they're not related.
Yeah,
guessing. You might be right.
What's funny is Tom Thibodeau still ranks higher on defensive intensity than Kayvon Thibodeau.
He does.
And do they spell their names differently?
Yes.
Tom doesn't have an X at the end. Is that right?
He does not have an X at the end.
Interesting.
It's because he's not an edge.
He left off the last X for savings.
Oh, boy. Wow.
He's a Thibodeau, not a Thibodeau.
Wow.
Thibodeau.
Yeah.
I went back for a stretch there.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. To all of our listeners who are still alive who remember those commercials, you're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. Enjoy. So we'll leave those in the
Did any of us get any right last year?
Yeah.
Well, we you know what? I will tell you this much. I promise you that every single one of our picks that all 3 of us picked last year got drafted.
Right.
Yeah, I think one of us had maybe 3 or 4 right, and I think I
accidentally had like 3 right. I don't know.
I think you won.
Let's see. I can actually pull them up. Hold on. Let's pull them up really quick. I got them right.
And I don't know how that happened.
I got them right.
Yeah. Well, and listen, we haven't seen any trades or anything.
No, that's you had last year. You had a whole spreadsheet of somebody trading up.
Well, here we go. This was last year. This is Harry's picks last year. You had Trevor Lawrence going to Jacksonville and Zach Wilson going to the Jets. You got those right, my friend. You got them right. You had Mac Jones going to 49ers.
Boy, were the 49ers stupid for not listening to me.
Right?
Yeah.
I was one off. Obviously, Mac Jones.
Yeah, but like at 15, though, not at yeah.
Well, because there was trades there.
There were trades and everything else. Yeah, exactly. And then you had Penny Sewell going to the Bengals. We know, obviously, that Jamar Chase went to the Bengals. Mm-hmm. Kyle Pitts going to Miami. We know he went to the Falcons.
Where did Penny Sewell go?
Detroit, right? Detroit, wasn't it Detroit? I'm pretty sure it was.
Detroit. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, Jamar Chase obviously went to the. He went to Detroit. Jamar Chase obviously went to the Falcons, the Bengals.
The Bengals,
right? I'm not sure who went to Carolina. That I don't know. But you had Trey Lance going to the Broncos. Obviously, he went to Frisco. You had Devontae Smith going to the Falcons. Obviously, he went to the Eagles. You had Micah Parsons going to the Giants. Damn, I wish Micah Parsons.
Yeah, that pick had been right.
Look, all my Broncos fans and Giants fans, you're really happy if it's listened to me.
Mm-hmm. This is very true. It's very true. Unfortunately, there was a trade, and the Cowboys. Right. So, and the rest of them, I'm not quite sure where they all went. I know Christian Darrisaw went to Minnesota later on, didn't he? Pretty sure. So. All right. You seem to be breaking up again, but I'm going to go and look at Pete's picks from last year. You got Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson correct. Trey Lance is wrong. Justin Fields was wrong. You had, I don't think you had anybody else correct. You have Micah Parsons going to Denver. That was not correct.
Well, let's see.
Jalen Waddle going to Arizona, to Atlanta. Obviously, he went to Miami. Yeah, so that was it. You just had the first two right. That was it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And then let's see about me. Let's see. I had Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson, of course. Mac Jones, I had wrong, obviously. It was Trey Lance. I had Kyle Pitts right. I had Penny Sewell wrong. I had Jamar Chase wrong, but I was right out of there. Trey Lance to New England. Flip New England and 49ers, and I had them right. I was wrong there. Wrong with Justin Fields. Kwity Paye to Dallas was not right there. The Giants did not take Jalen Waddle because he went to the Eagles because of the Cowboys that you picked before. That's it.
So you had 3.
I had 3. There you go.
So John,
there you go.
So, there you go.
All right. Can you hear me again, or am I?
I can hear you. You're good. You're good.
Yep, you're good.
For some reason, I think when you have the graphics up.
Really?
I don't know.
That's weird.
Maybe it blocks my microphone.
I think it blocks your microphone. That's what it is. It's absolutely what it is. All right. All right. So now, how do we think this is going to go? Do we think that we think there's going to be like a lot of trading? Obviously, we don't know who's going to be picking who. That remains to be seen. We'll figure that out tomorrow. We'll revisit these the next show. But do you think there's going to be a lot of trading back? You think there's going to be a lot of trade bouncing around, especially with the Jets and the Giants both having 2 picks in the top 10?
If the Giants trade down, I will fucking kill them.
Well, what if the Giants
You heard it here first, folks. You heard it here first.
Yes.
The Giants have what, 5 and 7 or 5 and
7? Jets have 4.
What if they trade 7? They keep the 5, but they trade the 7 down.
For what?
I don't know. Who knows? I don't know.
For trade bait next year, so they can have 2 first-round picks, so they can trade up in the first round and get the quarterback they want after.
What quarterback
just in case Daniel Jones?
The Giants are going to trade for a veteran quarterback next year.
Yep. Or hey, maybe Daniel Jones works out.
You know who might be available? Is
I love being able to make Harry laugh.
Sam Bradford might be available.
Sam Bradford Darnold or Sam Bradford?
Yeah.
No, Sam Bradford Darnold.
Sam Bradford Darnold.
Although you might take Sam Bradford over Sam Bradford Darnold.
Jimmy G and the guy from Cleveland. Yeah.
Right. Jimmy G and the guy from Cleveland.
Oh yeah, Baker in New York.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Jimmy G and the guy from Cleveland.
They open a pizza parlor together.
Right, exactly.
Baker Mayfield is actually going to be living in the stadium just so he can stay in Cleveland.
Right, exactly. He's actually gonna ask Alice Cooper if he can move into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with him. So
I would tend to think there would not be that much movement.
I think this year there's not, only because of the quarterback scenario.
Because I think, these offensive linemen and defensive linemen, they're not interchangeable, but I think teams are.
There's enough. In other words, there's enough decent cornerbacks, enough decent edge rushers, enough.
Yeah. In other words,
if
you want a quarterback, the difference between who you really want and the next guy that you want could be pretty great. You know what I mean?
To give up a bunch of draft capital just to get
you don't get the guy
incrementally
you want,
better.
And you trade it. But when you're talking about linemen, that difference could be a lot closer. And even if you don't get the guy you really want, you might go, well, this other guy is really close.
If you pick if you pick 2 of the top 3, odds are one of them is going to work out.
Exactly.
Yeah. So and I think that's what the Giants have to do. Look, Jacksonville, Detroit, Houston, the Jets, the Giants in Carolina, Atlanta, and Seattle. Do they all need an offensive lineman? Yes.
Yeah. Well, everyone can use an offensive lineman.
I think the lineman situation is actually pretty good this year. Obviously, there's some good defensive players, both cornerbacks, edge rushers, whatever you want to call them. I think some of these wide receivers might sneak up a little bit.
I think you're right.
There's the Deebo Samuel situation, which is not making a lot of noise right now, but
Well, what I heard yesterday
during the draft, if it's going to happen, I would think it's going to happen.
It's going to happen tomorrow
during
afternoon
the draft.
when it's going to happen. Yeah, but I heard yesterday that and it's just rhetoric at this point, but it could be just lip service to get people off the trail, if you will. But the front office of the 49ers have said that they're not interested in moving a generational talent like Deebo Samuel.
Well, they don't have to.
No.
Well, is Deebo Samuel the next Kyrie Irving? Because look, Deebo Samuel is not a top 5 receiver as far as the passing game goes.
But he's very versatile.
He's versatile, but he doesn't want to carry the ball anymore.
But he doesn't want to carry the ball, or at least not as much as he did in San Francisco.
He averaged 4 carries a game last year.
Like the Jets are building. I don't think they should give away the farm to get somebody that it's going to be good for them. Don't get me wrong, but keep building. Last year was Zach Wilson's first year.
What is it with receivers?
Get a good receiver. Go with but look, Harry, you say it all the time. The Giants for years, and they haven't done it recently by any means, but for years in the past, 10, 20, 30 years ago, they always picked drafted really talented wide receivers. And then when they were done and wanted to get paid, they went to another team and in comes the next group. And they always worked out. Very, very infrequently did they bring somebody in like Plaxico Burress, like a Plaxico Burress.
That is the rule you need to follow with receivers and running backs.
Right.
And you can't, you can bring all the generational talent receivers onto your team. If your quarterback doesn't have time to throw to them,
right,
then they're useless.
Right. Well, and it's a perfect example because the Giants took that time that they were, investing, if you will, into draft picks, if you will, and money they were investing into their lines, into their trenches, and that's why they were good. And it goes for most every other team. When you have a brick wall in front of you, it doesn't matter if your wide receiver that your quarterback's thrown to is here or if he's here. If he has a brick wall, he's going to get the ball to him.
Look, the Giants in the last year, their offensive line has improved. Now I know the cynical way of saying is it couldn't get any better.
It couldn't get worse. Yeah.
Thomas had especially the last part of the year.
Last year.
Thomas is going to be a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could pair him up with another tackle,
with Ekwonu or Neal,
right, and then
and you have these like 4 other guys that they brought in and moved them around, and
right.
Then,
especially in today's NFL, then you have a chance, especially when we see who we get as a quarterback.
Right.
But yes.
Yeah, and if you think that the Jets' problems over the last, let's pick a reasonable amount of time, 5 years to a decade, are because they didn't have superstar wide receivers, then you really don't understand the game of football. That was not their problem. Nothing against Deebo Samuel. I think he's a good receiver. He's an electric player.
The Jets should be picking 2 offensive linemen.
Yeah, they definitely should. I agree. Absolutely, they should.
Because the Jets, unlike the Giants, and look, I'm not trying to pile on Daniel Jones. The Jets have what a lot of
other people have. That's the problem.
What a lot of people think is one of the a potential top 10, maybe top 5 quarterback that they have behind center right now.
Yeah,
they don't want to get killed.
Got a guy with that potential, sure. So, although it did worry me when it was either Robert Saleh or
Douglas
or Douglas who said, we want to surround him with talented pieces, i.e., the skill positions is so. Yeah. And I was like, no, why don't you surround him with big, strong linemen that can block?
Yeah,
and then he can, because you don't,
Look. I mean, take your lead from the Giants. They wanted to surround Daniel Jones last year with big, talented pieces, and they went out and got Kenny Galladay and gave him $1 billion, and he didn't catch 1 touchdown.
They got a lot of receivers who had their worst season ever.
Yeah.
Look,
although listen, I still think Tony could end up being a good draft pick.
Well, there's talk now that they want to trade. There's trade talk for Kadarius.
Oh, really?
And there's trade talk for
attitude or
Darius Slayton too.
Was it attitude or on the field?
No. I think
is there any wide receiver who's not a fucking problem?
I don't know if it's. I don't know if it's a problem. I don't know if it's,
maybe they just
money. I think it might be. They have a deep receiving core, and they have Kenny Galladay that they're not getting rid of because they're not moving this money.
Like Daniel Jones throwing to them.
Right.
Yeah.
So get rid of them. Maybe get some more draft picks. Maybe get an offensive lineman.
Right.
And maybe they're doing it right. Who knows? Well, I'm not saying that doesn't mean that they're going to trade them.
I think the Jets' problem is that Sal is a defensive mind, and they do not have an offensive identity yet that is going to match up with Wilson's talent. Wilson and the Jets need to be playing an offense similar to the 49ers, where they're mixing it up. They got a lot of motion, and they're throwing short passes and eating up clock. And if they can get the offensive line to do that for him, then the Jets are going to be pretty good in the next couple of years.
Right.
Because he's not going to be a drop back. He's not going to be Derek Carr.
Right.
No.
And you don't want him to be.
And listen, the Jets are also very young.
They are.
So they do have time.
Speed. They have a lot of speed and a lot of they have some players who are like a Deebo Samuels who are very versatile, and I think their special teams are going to be really good this year. So
and they really and as far as the offense goes, you don't need a star running back. You need two pretty good guys, right? That's the formula now.
And they need to be able to catch the ball out of the backfield.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right. Well, we're going to see what happens
tomorrow. See how they screw it up.
We'll see how they screw it. We'll see how every team, for that matter, screws it up tomorrow. And then, of course, we have more draft.
We're going live, right?
We're going live during the draft tomorrow night. Yep. Okay. We're going to be broadcasting.
4 hours. First 4 hours recovery.
First 4 hours of the draft. Yeah.
Have fun.
I will be bowling tomorrow.
Was it in my contract?
I'll be bowling during the first part of the draft tomorrow night, but then I'll be back. I'll probably be back in time to watch the Giants screw up pick number 7. I can't wait to watch the 4th round. So that's on Saturday, though, right? So you got second, third rounds on Friday night, and you got rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7 on Saturday. So
that's where the greatest of all time came from. Was round 4, right? 199th pick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, well Brady was round 5.
5.
How many rounds are there now?
6. Round 6. Brady was in
but there isn't 6 rounds anymore.
Yeah, it was a 6 round.
No, 7. There's 7.
There's 7?
7 rounds.
Jesus Christ.
There used to be 16 rounds.
There's more rounds in the draft than there are in a Tyson Fury fight.
Exactly. Well,
is that happening this weekend too? Is he fighting this weekend?
I think he fought already, didn't he?
On the plane, he fought. Yeah.
No, that was Mike Tyson.
No, that was Mike Tyson. That's what we need is like a steel cage match with all the guys named Tyson.
I think
there's got to be 4 or 5
Tyson
of
Fury
them, right?
versus Mike Tyson.
Tyson Fury, Mike Tyson. There's got to be a couple.
Fury would kick the shit out of Mike Tyson.
I know.
No offense to Mike Tyson,
but there's got to be another couple of kids.
The owner of Tyson Farms for chicken.
That's right. That's right.
That's right. Joe Tyson, the owner of it.
Charlie Tyson.
Tyson Chicken. Man.
Hey man, he's deadly with a bone saw.
Exactly. And
we can bring in
the guy that invented the Dyson vacuum, just for laughs.
I would pay to watch that guy get his ass kicked. I would and beat him to the pulp with one of those fucking vacuums.
Don't hold back.
I hate that guy.
I got it. I'm actually going to use that as a soundbite. I hate that guy. That's great.
Is there a more annoying? Yeah. Oof. I hope Mike Tyson sits in first class with the Dyson vacuum guy, and the Dyson vacuum guy asks for his autograph. Wasn't there another fight though? Like, didn't Mike Tyson have more than one fight lately? Didn't he? Wasn't there another fight like backstage at a award show or something like that with another?
Something like that, yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows?
I thought there were more fighters named Tyson. This is a poor search engine.
Was that Ask Jeeves?
Yeah.
It was Lycos.
Searching MySpace for
that dog's like 17 years old now. He like, Lycos, go get it. And he goes, what do you want?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Lycos, the search engine with the Labradors.
Yeah. Isn't that a Turkish power forward?
I know
what play for the Jazz.
He played for the Jazz, yeah.
John knows what I'm talking about.
I know what you mean. Yeah, Lycos. I know, remember it.
Hey, the Bulls are back within 18.
All right. Well, are we? I think we're done with football. I mean,
it's the draft and nothing but the draft.
Draft and nothing but the draft. So we're gonna watch. Obviously, everybody go out watch tomorrow night. Check out our picks. We'll post our picks and see what they are. We'll rate them, and then we'll go from there. But let's switch it up. Let's switch it up to a little basketball because Pete's Nets did not make that good of a showing.
Boy, I thought that was going to be the gentleman's sweep. I thought they'd get it together for one.
Well, maybe if Ben Simmons didn't wake up Monday morning with a little back pain, like who doesn't wake up on a Monday morning with back pain?
Listen,
Ben Simmons not playing is like worrying that John Stamos isn't going to be performing at a Beach Boys concert. It doesn't make a fucking difference in the world.
That's a good analogy. I like that.
It doesn't make a difference in the world.
A lot of the pundits were saying, some of these games were pretty close. I don't know.
Yeah, they're basketball games. Well,
yeah, right. It was a 4-point win or a 6-point win, but they weren't that close.
Yeah, but NBA basketball playoffs are not going to be, generally speaking, blowouts.
Right, so. But I mean, the game itself, it might have been a 6-point differential, but the game wasn't that. Some of the games were not that. Look, listen, whatever. We know the Nets have problems. Here's what all I'll say. Much as I love him as a player, and I do, the K-Man, as in Kyrie, is really kind of the source of all the Nets' problems.
He's a cancer.
They went out and got James Harden because they were worried about Kyrie flaking out. And because he went to the birthday party, disappeared for a few days, this and that. This was even before COVID.
Sure.
He's a part-time worker.
Yeah. And then
always has been, always will be.
And he's I
shows up when it's convenient for him.
No, I don't think it's that. I think that basketball is not the most important thing in his life.
Proving that the earth is flat is.
Well, whatever. We could joke about his conspiracy theories are fine. I think it's just.
Isn't it part of the reason why he didn't take the vaccine?
I don't know if it
because the earth may be flat or conspiracy theory.
Well, no, just he's.
Well, yeah, right. He doesn't believe in the vaccine. That's fine. He doesn't want to take it. He doesn't have to take it. But it's not the most important thing, and other things get in the way. And all right, that's fine. That's who he is. But he's unreliable, and that's why they went and got James Harden. And then he's pretty much the reason why James Harden wanted out because it wasn't what he signed up for.
Right.
And of course, KD, gets hurt now and probably perennially is going to miss 20 games getting hurt. So this is not what the plan was really.
Right.
But here's the question I'll ask. And I, as I've said before, I think the Nets management did a pretty good job when they had to get rid of James Harden. This isn't a bad team. It's got some nice pieces. But don't you think this team would be better off with KD, let's say Kyrie's on the team now, Jared Allen, Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert? Wouldn't this be a better team? Wouldn't it be?
And their old coach.
And a real coach.
And their old coach.
And their old coach. Fine. A more rounded team, right? More defensive. That was
the problem with the Nets.
To me, that trading for Harden and saying we need 3 because one of our guys might flake, that was the beginning of all the unraveling.
Right.
And I hate to say it, and KD may go. He's signed for 4 years, but I think he's got an opt-out after.
Where's he going to go? He's not going to go anywhere.
Well, if Kyrie goes,
KD's not going anywhere.
If Kyrie goes, I don't think KD will go anywhere, but that would be the worry. He came here, but he's got to see at this point. It's just not gonna happen.
Well, the problem is that
he has to go.
The problem is that KD can't see what it takes to build a championship team. Just like LeBron James can't see what it takes to build a championship team. Letting Durant dictate everything that went on in the Nets organization, including who their coach is and who the players are and who they got rid of, was the demise of the Nets and their front office.
Yes.
KD, you know how I feel about him. I think he's the best player. He had a bad series.
He should have
He's
nothing
been hurt.
to do with coaching the team and managing the team. Agreed.
Right.
Agreed. But
they need depth. They need depth and youth, and they have to get a new coach. The Nets were horribly coached this year, and I'll give the front office credit. They went out and got a lot of veteran talent to help this team, and then they never played.
Well, yeah, that was
why do you get veterans for what time of year?
Well, until the fourth quarter of Game 3, and then you bring Blake Griffin in.
Why do you want experience for the playoffs?
Right, and then they don't play. And Aldridge has got to be hurt or something, right?
I don't know.
I think he hurt his ankle or something, or maybe he's ready to wash his hands of this team as well. But
I agree. I agree with you about Kyrie. I'm not going to give James Harden a pass because James Harden is the same guy who forced his way out of Houston and a year and a half later forced his way out of the Nets, leaving both of those franchises, by the way, not in great shape. Now, with Houston, they took the money that opened up for them, and they got a lot of young players. And guess what? Rockets are going to be okay in a couple years. But they don't have a Kevin Durant on the team who needs to win now. That's the difference.
Right. But just think about what the Nets would be if they never made the Harden deal.
Yes.
They would be a much better team right now. They were a team that actually won more playoff games than this team has ever won without KD and Kyrie. So, they did a good job when they had to get rid of Harden, but bringing him here was the mistake.
Right.
And they did that because of Kyrie. And Kyrie's got to go.
Kyrie's probably not going to go. I mean, at least, not next year. Doesn't he have another 3 years on his contract?
Yeah.
That's KD. KD signed a new 4-year deal. I don't think Kyrie did. I think he has.
Yeah, but he had a longer contract with the Celtics, didn't he?
I don't know.
He had a longer contract with the Celtics. Yeah.
I think he's under contract for at least next year. I think it's 2.
I think it's just next year, but I might be wrong about that.
Okay. Doesn't matter. I mean, regardless, look, Kyrie Irving's probably the most frustrating player in the NBA because he could be Pistol Pete Maravich one night, and the next night he shoots 3 of 16, and he just disappears. And the reality of it is that regardless of COVID and vaccines and whatever else, Kyrie doesn't want to play a full season. He doesn't, and he won't.
No, he won't.
Well,
wherever he goes, he won't.
I'm going to disagree with you there. I think he does.
No.
But I think there are other things that come up, again, that he feels are more important than basketball.
Parties.
So that leads to him missing games.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Now,
my point being is that he's not a full season guy. Has not been for the last 4 or 5 years.
No. He's a free agent in 2023. So he has one more year.
Okay.
Now, here's what I think is going to happen.
How many more top years does Kevin Durant have left on those knees?
1.
Yeah.
Well, how old is he now?
I would say 3.
I would say more than I'd say at least 2, but
how old is Kevin Durant?
He's probably only 32, I think.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's older. So here's what I think is going to happen. The Nets are going to hope for the best with Ben Simmons.
Kevin Durant is 33 years old.
33. And they're going to say, okay, let's reload next year with KD and Kyrie. COVID probably be over and all done and won't be an issue. And we'll have Ben Simmons.
Right. Ben Simmons is a good piece, but he's not anywhere part of a big 3.
But I don't think you need a big 3.
Oh, okay. You need a big 10.
Well, you need
better
defensive pieces and more versatility.
What is they going to move Durant to the 4 and play Ben Simmons at the 3? Or are they going to move Kyrie to the 2? And what about when what's his name comes back for the Nets? Yeah, bring Harris in off the bench.
Probably.
Or do you bring Ben Simmons in off the bench? I think Ben Simmons needs to spell Kyrie.
Simmons is probably going to start
where
on the bench. Sorry,
He's going to start on the bench.
Coming off the bench. I think
his efficiency rating is going to be really low.
Yeah, well, but look, who knows if he's even going to play? Right? I mean, this is. The back is the least of the worries right now. It's the mental aspect.
If the Nets have a psychiatrist, whoever that is, he or she, or they, should get a raise because they have seen it all.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and they're definitely earning their money.
That's for sure.
So I'm pretty sure I said it, I don't know, last year sometime. They're not going to win. This big 3. The last time big 3 with Garnett and all that, it didn't work. This is not going to work either.
I will say this.
It's because of Kyrie.
I will say this. I think the Nets didn't have the depth. But what I mean. They needed the guys they traded away. I will say this, and we'll see in the next series. Boston's the real deal. Yeah. Boston might be the best defensive team that I have seen
they're,
in years.
They're pretty damn good.
In years.
They're pretty damn good.
Although I will say this. I can't fully wish that they never made the trade for Harden, because that trade, Karis LeVert had to get a physical, and that's when they found the tumor in his body, which, could have been, if that hadn't happened, it could have gotten a lot worse, and he might not be alive today. So in that sense, I'm glad they made that trade, but boy, that was not what they should have done.
I'd rather have Durant and Harden without Kyrie than Durant and Kyrie without Harden.
I think it's a better. Kyrie is, how I feel about him on the court. He's incredible.
Can be.
He does things other people don't do, but there's
when he wants
too much.
It's all about Kyrie. It's not about the Nets. Yeah. It's not about the NBA. It's about Kyrie.
That's too much baggage. Yeah, right. That's what I mean. It's him and what he's feeling and other things more important than basketball. And hey, okay, if that's the way it is, that's the way it is. But the Nets have to deal with that and move forward. Now, whether where do you send them, right? So I mean, somebody will take him.
Kyrie,
right? Yeah. If you wanted to get rid of him,
wouldn't it be great if we went back to the Lakers, team up with LeBron?
Yeah, that might be the place.
Oh, I could see Kyrie. I could easily see Kyrie having some weird thought and then agreeing to sign with the Knicks. I mean, what makes more sense than that? Dysfunction upon dysfunction upon dysfunction.
Right.
In the greatest arena for dysfunctions in the last 20 years.
Right.
Why
always
not?
Been one.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be very dysfunction on both sides of the river.
This is true. very dysfunctional river.
2/5 of New York have dysfunctional professional basketball teams.
Well, let me ask you this. Out of all of the major New York sports teams, which team is the furthest away from winning a championship?
Of all the professional sports
I'm going to say baseball, football, and basketball. And we could throw in hockey if you want to, but I think the hockey teams are all pretty okay. So, but who is the furthest away? Are the Knicks worse off than the Nets? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are the Knicks worse off than the Jets or the Giants?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're worse off than the Giants. I think they're worse off than the Jets, but like incrementally.
Oh, yeah. Are they worse off than the Jets? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't know. I mean,
at least the Knicks went to the playoffs last year.
The Knicks had a good season and went to the play. Now, they couldn't sustain it. Yeah. But, I mean, the Jets, they haven't done anything.
Their upside at the moment looks bright.
Right.
But that remains to be seen.
They won 4 games last year. So their winning percentage was 25%. I don't know. What was the Knicks' winning percentage?
Last year?
Did they win?
The Knicks.
They were better than the Jets.
This past season, their winning percentage was 451.
Something. Yeah.
451, yeah.
So
they were 37 to 45.
The Jets have. Well, and now you could look at it as, well, they have maybe more pieces in place and a brighter upside and maybe a quicker path.
Who will be the next New York City team to win a championship?
Well, I think the question is, who will be the last New York City team to win a championship?
Who will be the first? Who will be the first? Who will be the last?
I
think that the Yankees and the Mets would be the first.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd probably, based on what we're seeing now, I'd put the Mets at slight edge. But the Yankees are still the Yankees.
And the Yankees are still the Yankees.
But after the Yankees and the Mets, are the Nets not right there? They're better than the Knicks. They're better than the Jets. They're better than the Giants.
I think the Rangers. I think the Rangers are third. Actually,
right. I said to make it easy, leave out hockey. But yeah, I think the Rangers. I think the Islanders are still in a better position than the Giants and Jets and the Knicks.
Sure. I would say
the Devils are a little
Mets,
bit.
Yankees,
Devils are a head scratcher.
I would say Mets, Yankees. You want to flip flop either of them. Then I would say the Rangers. Then I would say the Nets.
So out of all, so my point being is that having Kevin Durant and starting over if they can it's not a bad thing. I think they need a new coach.
Oh, they definitely need a new coach.
And I think they need a coach where the front office allows them to build a team that's going to be younger, more athletic, and way better defensively.
Right.
Because the Nets are bad defensively. They're worse than the Knicks.
Yeah.
Now, granted, the Knicks 2 years ago were one of the better defensive teams, but the Nets gave up a lot of easy points, and I have never seen a team in the playoffs turn the ball over like the Nets did. They just seemed they did
not seem like the Nets. That's for sure.
They seemed poorly coached and ill prepared.
Well, you know what? Everybody said it too. Like the Celtics star players outshined the Nets star players. The role players, the background, the filler
bench
players, if you will, the bench, everything else,
players.
the tertiary players, showed up for the Celtics. Showed up for the Nets. They weren't even existing. They weren't there. So it just
Seth Curry's
it was unfair.
Here's what I will say.
Quiet.
Here's what I will say. 2 years ago, everybody was saying that the Celtics team, as it's constructed, could not play together. That Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and Marcus Smart could not play together. That they had to bust this team up. Well, they were wrong.
Yeah.
So it does take time.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm not giving up on the Nets. And as much as I criticize Kyrie Irving, I think with the right parts supplementing the Nets, Ben Simmons to me is not a big factor. The Nets need to leverage and get depth and shooting. They need to get Joe Harris back. They need to get younger and more athletic and more physical and have more players who can play both ends of the court with an emphasis on defense. If they do that, the Nets could be right back in this again.
Right.
Yeah. And that's why I say they would be a better team without the Harden trade, because they traded away depth and they traded away defense.
I agree.
And I think those three big pieces have all turned into stars, if not, maybe not superstars, but stars in the making.
I don't think Steve Nash is the answer either. I'm sorry.
No, he's again. I think I said last week, it's not really his fault.
No,
he was brought here to manage, not coach.
He was brought here by Kyrie and KD.
Yeah, and listen, again, not against him. He probably just doesn't have the tools, because how could he? He's never coached before.
No. And
how could he just walk onto an NBA court with those two superstars and everything else and all of the? I mean, now look, I've heard people defend him by saying, well, he hasn't had a chance to coach the team he was brought here to coach. Well, other coaches have injuries and turmoil and shit that goes on, and superstars, and they coach them, right?
Let me ask you
this. Steve Kerr coaches guys, right? Talk about not having the team.
Steve Kerr's brilliant when all of his talent is healthy. Yes, he's brilliant when all of his talent is healthy.
Right.
Here's the other thing: is that the Warriors drafted Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
They got younger and better.
Right.
What was the last? Who was the last star player the Nets got out of the draft?
Yeah. But I mean, but he coached, right?
Right.
Spoelstra in Miami with LeBron and the Big Three. He coached those guys. He was in charge, right? That's Phil Jackson with the greatest player ever.
What do all three of those coaches have in common?
They came from the Bill Belichick tree.
Yeah, which is defense.
Yeah. And they were in charge. And everybody knew they were in charge.
They were in charge, and they're in charge in ways which still give a lot of room and say to their stars. But at the end of the day, they're able to assemble a team that puts the right role players in the right mindset.
Yep. Yeah. And I honestly, can we name a player who was big enough, and there's really only been a few of them, and was good at making those decisions?
Bill Russell.
Okay.
That was the last time anybody was good at it. He won a championship as a player coach.
Right.
So, yeah, I think he was okay at it.
But, I mean, Jordan didn't really do that, right? Jordan didn't. LeBron has failed.
Right.
In LA, right?
Well, he was successful when he went to Dwayne Wade's team, when Dwayne Wade was still the best player in the NBA.
Right. But that wasn't his team, or he went he went to LA. They brought in AD. There were injuries.
They won a championship.
Yes, they did when guys were healthy. But they could have had the guy from Toronto.
Kyle Lowry.
Kyle Lowry was pretty much set to go to L.A.
Right.
But LeBron said, no, I want Russell Westbrook.
Russell Westbrook.
And Westbrook went there, and it was a disaster. Now and again, there were injuries and stuff. So he is not good at it. And so far, KD, who I think is the driving force here, has not proven to be adept at putting together a team.
No. Let me ask you both this.
Yeah.
Who's the better coach right now in New York? Steve Nash or Tom Thibodeau?
Thibodeau.
Well, yeah. Thibodeau has a much better resume. Thibodeau's a better all-around coach. Look, I said this. I like Tom Thibodeau. Let me just say that. But I said this coming in when the Knicks hired him. This vaunted resume that they're talking about is overrated. I mean, Thibodeau, the last I checked, he didn't win a championship. You know, he took a decent Bulls team that was rebuilt on youth and did exactly what he did with the Knicks. Is he had them buy in for a couple years. With the Knicks, it was only one. And they got really good, and then they started to peter out, and he was gone because the players don't like him because he's an old school coach who's not going to take shit and fucking, you know, like their TikTok videos.
Right.
So is he a better coach? Yes. But Tom Thibodeau coaching the Nets would be a disaster.
Yeah.
Steve Nash coaching the Knicks. Steve Nash coaching the Knicks would be about the same.
Right.
So
I hear you.
And again, and I like Steve Nash too.
I
feel bad for him. Like I said, it's not his fault. I don't think he's been given the power, and I don't think he has the experience to really know what to do. You know,
the Nets need to get younger. They need to surround KD with some young guys, much like Golden State has surrounded Draymond and Steph and
Clay
with young guys. Young guys.
That's a soundbite.
This league is dominated. Look at this Memphis-Minnesota series. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Young talent. Miami clinched the series with their two best veteran stars out yesterday. Why? Because they got some young guys who can play ball.
Yep. Young guys.
And they do. Was it 2 years ago when they?
This league's not about post up or off ball defense anymore. It's about athleticism and shooting.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's about.
Well, right, and playing actual team basketball,
right?
Because you get those good shots when you move the ball and you move your feet.
Yeah, you want to see a team move the ball. Watch the Golden State Warriors. Now, I there's certain elements of that team that drive me absolutely nuts, but the Nuggets for those first three games looked like the Warriors were on a power play.
Yeah,
they
seemed unfair.
They were 12 feet away from the ball when somebody was shooting it. Now, Draymond Green on any other team doesn't do what Draymond Green does. You know, he has a lot of intangibles. He's a great, smart basketball player, but he's on a team.
He's in the right place.
He's in the right place.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson's in the right place. Why? Because he's a third option. Klay Thompson is your third option.
Who missed what a year and a half or almost 2 years, right?
Yes. Steph Curry, and I know this is going to sound blasphemous, might not be the best player on that team anymore. That is why the ball is moving, and that because they got young guys who don't know any better. And they've got old veteran guys who, guess what? Are good guys and want to win a championship and understand team ball and put their ego aside.
Yeah.
And that's why.
You mean it's not about one person?
And that's why Kevin Durant left the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Idiot.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Should have stayed there and won 3 more.
There you go.
All right. Well, speaking of young teams,
all right.
Minnesota and Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, Minnesota should really be up in this series.
They blew that game last night.
And listen, and I think a lot of it is youth and inexperience. They do think putting up bad shots when you don't have to, making some of them because they're talented,
And of course, trying to steal the ball from John Morant by going to the outside, that's a real kind of a rookie mistake. And of course, Morant really stepped up in that game. But
Morant stepped up. He hasn't had a perfect series. He's getting better as the series goes on. His athleticism is unbelievable.
He threw down that dunk, and that was energy. And then he hit a couple of threes, and then.
But do you believe the series is over? I don't.
I don't think
no. I think
it's going 7.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, I think it's going 7.
Yeah, I think some of these series you look at, and when you see the underdogs, and they win a couple games, but then you see them up by a lot of points, and then the higher seed comes back and wins, and you go, yeah, they're just a little bit of a better team.
Right.
I still think the Grizzlies are going to win, but I think it's going 7.
Yeah, I think it really could. We talked about this before.
It should be 3-2 Minnesota.
It should be. It definitely should
even
be.
without last night's game.
Yes, I agree. Charles Barkley called them the stupidest team in the NBA.
They are, but
because they're young and inexperienced.
Right. And the one thing I noticed with Minnesota is there's a little bit of a power struggle going on. Is this Karl Anthony Towns teams or is this Edwards team? That's the real question. And
I think it's whoever shows up on any given night.
And if they both show up and learn how to play together, they're going to be dangerous.
Yeah. But
here's the other thing I just want to say about the NBA is that talk about teams and knowing what, and we're going to talk about these folks a little later, but the Milwaukee Bucks and their coach do not get enough credit. Okay, now granted, I realize Levine was out, but this Bulls team tonight still had DeMar DeRozan and Vucevic and a good team, but without Chris Middleton, okay, the Bucks do what the Bucks do.
Well, yeah,
and they have a superstar, and everybody else knows their role, and they're deep. And whether it's Grayson Allen or Pat Connaughton coming off the bench or Serge Ibaka, this team is really, really good. And guess what? I still think they're the favorite to win the East. I really do. And they've proved something to me with Chris Middleton going down, taking care of business. Taking care of business.
Well, you just said they do what they do. What I say about them is they almost always do what they're supposed to.
Yes.
They don't make dumb mistakes. They don't play down to the level of their competition. They're kind of like when you have a great football team, right? A great offensive football team. And they go, we do what we do. You figure out how to stop us. And that's the Bucks. They get it done, and they do what they're supposed to do. They don't do dumb things, and they don't lose games that they should be winning almost all the time. And they're strong, man.
And they go a little bit against my youth because they are such a veteran team. But look, they're role players, and they have Giannis is just I'm not sure if there's a more consistent star in the league. Maybe Jokic, but Giannis has been in way more high pressure games and has won a championship. And I'm not sure there's a better clutch performer in the NBA right now. I really don't.
Fair enough. And on that note, should we
well, actually, I want to ask you guys.
Sure.
Can Toronto win one more of these games? Can they win?
Boy, I'll tell you what. If they do win one more, that is going to fuck with the Sixers' heads more than you could possibly imagine.
I think if Toronto wins Game 6, they're winning Game 7.
How about that miraculous shot though by Embiid? I mean, imagine if that doesn't go in. Then we're talking about Toronto being up right
3-2,
yeah, with a chance to close this out.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But it would have been a little different because they would have been down 3-0.
Right.
But and listen, here's the other thing. We probably all, even I like Doc Rivers. And it's not everything doesn't always fall on the coach, but boy, he's lost 3 playoff series when he was up 3-1, or when his team was up 3-1.
Is he the Andy Reid of
if he ends up losing this,
basketball in Philly,
oh my goodness!
Yeah.
I mean, that's devastating.
There you go. This is true. There was a little chatter I heard. It was actually in Philly on Sunday, and just we're just in quick. Actually went and stopped at a brewery and had lunch, and then we came back to Jersey. But
and you walk in, and you go, "How about them Sixers?"
Yeah, really, yeah. But there was
6 times.
There was a smattering.
Philly cheesesteak shoved up your ass.
Of course, I had my Knicks cap on, right? Of course not. But no,
everybody was doubled over in laughter.
Right. But no, but there was chatter about like in not overly confident in this series. Let's put it that way.
Well, listen, I always feel bad, even for maybe. There are great players who just don't perform well in the postseason, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel bad for almost all of them. Listen, playoff James Harden is showing up in Philly, and it's not good. And he's not a complete failure in every playoff game he's ever been in,
right?
But he is sort of has a track record of kind of falling down.
And he's a matador.
Yeah. And listen, and Embiid called him out the other day without calling him out. He said, he needs to be more aggressive is how he put it. And he said, it's not it's the coach's job to motivate guys and get them up. But he was really calling out James Harden. And, I don't know, whatever. Harden did what he did with the Nets. That's who he is. He's super talented, but he has a track record of just not getting it done. And listen, when he came to the Nets, right? Remember that who's going to play point guard? Who's going to play shooting guard? Well, James Harden made that decision.
Right.
James Harden said, no, Kyrie's going to take the shots and I'm going to facilitate.
Mm-hmm.
And even when Kyrie flaked out and wasn't around, Harden was great. We were talking about MVP that first year, and he was leading the league in assists. He was a whole different player. Maybe he doesn't want to be the number 2 guy. Maybe he wants to be the number 3 guy. Maybe being number 2 is more pressure than he wants.
Here's the thing with Harden, though, okay? He's averaging 18.5, 9.2 assists, and almost 5 rebounds a game. So I know this is going to sound, I think Harden needs to be more aggressive and take more shots. Now, I don't think
that's exactly what Embiid said.
I don't think he needs to chuck them up. I don't think it needs to be from 3-point range. But what James Harden can still do better than almost any player in the NBA is drive, get in the lane, and get to the free throw line. That's what James Harden needs to do. Yeah. And when he does drive, he's one of the best kick-out passers the game has ever seen. And if you have Tyrese Maxey or Tobias Harris or Danny Green sitting at the 3 or even a 2-point shot ready to go, that's going to open it up even more for Embiid. So I think the Sixers are still figuring it out a little bit.
Yeah,
I think Harden has a good game. I think there's less pressure for him playing on the road. I think the Sixers close it out in Toronto. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, if he does have one of those, Harden-esque games, then that's all it takes to close this thing out.
Sure. But, well, on that note,
two more chances to do it in this series.
Sure. Let me ask you: Does Phoenix close it out tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Does Dallas close it out tomorrow?
No.
So this is so it's tied going back to Dallas on Sunday.
I think Utah's got another win in them.
Yeah, I think they do too. Scrappy.
Saturday.
That's a toss-up, that series.
Okay.
And Phoenix, man, gotta love Chris Paul.
Well, I'll tell you who's really stepped up for Phoenix is DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Does Golden State close it out tonight?
I think it's going to be close. I think they do. Of course, I would rather. I don't want to see that happen, but okay. I think Golden State will close it out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think Golden State's better.
Jokic is going to
dead at this.
He's going to die.
He's got to be.
If they make it to another round of this, they're going to have to literally put him on ice in between games and jumpstart his heart.
Right.
Because it's just they are not double teaming him, not triple teaming him. There are points in the game when all 5 players on Golden State are surrounding Nikola Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, go ahead, Will Barton, beat us.
Right.
Exactly.
Monte Morris, who? Excellent. Yeah, it's incredible.
Right. It's crazy. All right, we already spoke about Memphis, Minnesota. We just spoke about Philly and Toronto. Whatchamacallit? Obviously, Milwaukee and Boston series is starting, forthcoming. But
great series.
Yeah, but does
the question mark is Chris Middleton going to be able to come back for that?
Yeah. So that's it. We will see. So we do think that it's a toss-up for we are we agreeing that if Toronto does happen to eke out Game 6 tomorrow, that it's basically a toss-up for Game 7, or are we confident that Harden's going to play ball and Philly's going to win it tomorrow night?
I think it's an 85% chance that Philly wins this series.
Philly closes it out tomorrow.
Yeah, you got to think Harden's going to, it might even be a game-winning shot. He's gonna get it together for one of these things, and
right.
I think you could see Embiid have a 42, 44 point game. I really do.
All right. Well, there you go. That's the state of the playoffs at the moment. Obviously, there'll be changes at that point.
One other thing, which completely, basketball related, but love those Pelicans, right? Exciting young team, 8 seed, all that. Right. Will they be better or worse next year if Zion comes back?
Yes.
Or does he?
Will they be better or worse next year? Yes.
Well,
they will be better or worse.
Will he throw off the chemistry?
I think initially they will be worse. I think overall,
when they figure out how to play with him in the lineup,
they will be better.
Right?
I think he needs to learn how to play with them. If he goes into it thinking that way, then they're going to be all right. But if they try and
recreate
what they've already created around him, then it's not going to work out as well.
Right. There you go. All right. But agree. Good point. Well taken. All right. Should we talk some Bucks?
Let's talk some Bucks.
How about the best Bucks ever?
Best Bucks ever.
The Sheboygan Sharpshooters.
The Sheboygan Sharpshooters. Today's, this week's, if you will, top list. It's not top 10 of sorts, obviously. This week's top list.
All-time starting 5 and second team starting 5.
First team, second team, starting 5 for the Milwaukee Bucks. Your Milwaukee Bucks, top Milwaukee Bucks of all time. All right, let's kick it off. First team point guard is going to be the Big O, Oscar Palmer Robertson. The Big O, right there. First team shooting guard is going to be Mr. Sidney Alvin Moncrief. Sid the Squid, Sir Sid, or El Cid, if you will. That brings us to our first team small forward, Marquise Kevin Johnson. And, of course, our first team power forward. You love saying his name like everybody else, and it's Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis Sina Uga Antetokounmpo. There you go.
The Greek Freak.
The Greek Freak. There he is. All right. And, of course, our first team starting center, you know him as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, born Ferdinand Louis Alcindor Jr. And this, my friends, is the first time on any of these lists we had the same first team center on 2 different teams.
He only played on 2, so.
That's all he needed to do, so apparently. So.
But he's definitely could make it onto the top Pelicans of all time.
He could probably make it on the top Pelicans of all time. So. All right, discussion on the first team, gentlemen.
I think a no-brainer. The Oscar Robertson thing is pretty interesting because he wasn't there as long as you think, and that was a good team. Obviously, everything was going through Kareem, but I think Oscar Robertson, what he did with that Bucks championship team is what James Harden needs to do with the Sixers. Mm-hmm. And that's a hell of a starting 5.
Oh, hell yeah.
I think Sidney Moncrief gets forgotten by a lot of people. But the rest of them, I think, I'm not sure there's any doubts. They're all household names and either Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers.
Mm-hmm. There you go. All right. Very good. All right. Let's move on to, Pete, you have anything? You're silent. I hear nothing. I see nothing. I actually see you, but I don't hear you. There you
go. We had a couple of differences as usual, but I can't really quarrel with any of the picks that you guys made that were different than mine. You know, I think it's 1 and 1A. You know, just in a little different order.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I mean, like, yeah, it was strange because the point system we use, there was actually a tie between Marquise Johnson and Glenn Robertson for small forward, but I think there was a vote for Glenn Robertson for power forward too. But
yeah, that's.
But in any event, so that
I put him at power forward just so I can get him on my second unit. I moved him. He in his defense, I remember Glenn Robinson very well. He did kind of play power forward, listed as a small forward, but did play power forward on a lot of those teams.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right. Let's
yeah, like I said, it's I can't yell and scream. You guys, come on! you got to be kidding! Sidney Moncrief over Ray Allen.
Well, yeah. Moncrief played a lot longer, and
he's the best shooting guard the Bucks ever had. Is Sidney?
Yeah, Sidney Moncrief has played more games than any other Buck, with the exception of Junior Bridgman. Mm-hmm. He's played more minutes than any other Buck than Bob Dandridge. Mm-hmm. Okay, he had. I mean, Sidney Moncrief was phenomenal and did it for a really long time. Now, I think you could argue that Ray Allen had a better career, but Ray Allen was kind of the original James Harden. He just kept popping from one team to the next after a while.
Well, Sidney Moncrief's teams had much better success, certainly in the postseason than Ray Allen's teams ever did. So
yeah, true. Ray Allen's success came after his time at the Bucks, but they were both great. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
But whatever, he still has more threes than anyone else in the Bucks history, and
right.
Like I said, I think I probably think they're closer than you guys do. Okay. But again, I can't yell and scream that Moncrief, how you guys are crazy. Absolutely not.
No.
Okay.
Like I said, I
just think Ray Allen wasn't around as long as some of these other guys, and that does matter when you're talking about all time,
it's true.
Teams.
It's true.
Yeah.
All right. So. Let's take a look at the second team. Here we go. Second team point guard is Mr. Sam Cassell, Samuel James Cassell Sr., Doc Rivers' right-hand man in Philly right now. Then we have our second team shooting guard, Mr. Ray Allen.
The aforementioned Ray
Allen.
Walter Ray Allen Jr., to be exact.
Which Chris Middleton, my argument was Ray Allen better than Chris Middleton?
Yeah, I think just a little bit.
Okay, we'll see when Middleton winds up with 3 rings.
Couple more years.
Huh?
He gets another 2 rings, then we'll talk. But at the moment, rings don't mean he's better. So
they help.
Sure. No, I get it. But anyway, I forget it. Is Phil Simms a better quarterback than Dan Marino?
I knew you were going to pull some bullshit like that.
I love Phil, don't get me wrong, but I would have rather had Dan Marino, don't you?
They're both better than Daniel Jones.
They are. Anyway, okay. Second team shooting guard, Ray Allen. All right. Second team small forward, the aforementioned Glenn Allen Robinson Jr., Big Dog, the chosen one. All right. And our second team power forward is Mr. Robert Terrell Cummings. There you go. And of course, our second team center is Robert Jerry Lanier, Jr. to be exact. Bob Lanier.
Bob Lanier?
Bob Lanier, yeah. What'd I say?
Lanner.
I didn't say Lanner.
Robert Lanner.
I did not say Lanner.
He's the top carpet salesman in Milwaukee.
Ladder. I didn't say Lanner. Bob Lanier.
Lanois, I believe it is.
Lanois.
Yes, when he played for the Milwaukee Ice, the Milwaukee Pelicans of the
his favorite
NHL. Yes,
he shops at Target. Right. There
right.
you go. So, all right. So, what do you want to say about Sam Cassell, Ray Allen, Glenn Robertson, Terry Cummings, and Bob Ladder?
Cassell's numbers with the Bucks were way better than I ever remember them being. I mean, he had his best years with Milwaukee, and look, Terry Cummings, he was the Steve Carlton of basketball. Although he played for 17 different teams, I think. Terry Cummings was on a lot of really good teams, and he's one of those guys, if you watch basketball and you understand the game, his contributions are way higher than his numbers, and his numbers are pretty impressive. One of the best rebounders of all time, one of the best overall defensive players of all time. And he did it in an era or eras where there were a lot of big guys and a lot of people battling it out and throwing elbows down in the paint. So, yeah, Terry Cummings certainly deserves to be on this list, without a doubt.
There you go. Pete?
I don't know how you guys put Bob Lanier ahead of Jack Sikma, but
we're talking about the Bucks, not the Seattle Supersonics.
I'm just saying, look at their numbers.
Yeah, but on the Bucks.
Yeah.
So, all right.
On the Bucks. Let's compare numbers. Let's look at Bob Lanier.
Well, Lanier came in towards the end of his career. Sikma was obviously
okay, so that makes him a better player?
No, I'm just saying. Overall, yeah, Bob Lanier is a way better player than Jack Sikma.
I'm not arguing that, but we're talking about Milwaukee Bucks.
Right.
Right, Milwaukee Bucks, I think if you compare those two, Sikma comes out on top. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough. All right. Let's do our bench, shall we?
Yeah, what was the deal with the bench here? You had like 9 guys on your.
It's 5. Well, we literally
these guys were all ended up tied. Is that what happened?
Yeah, there was Jack Sikma, because you voted him as your second team center. He got 2 points. So he wound up.
We need to redo the point system for next year.
He wound up with. So he wound up with 5 points. 3 points or 3. Well,
Jack Sikma averaged 13.4 points a game for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, he was with Milwaukee for 5 seasons.
13.4 points a game.
8 rebounds a game, 3 assists a game, and a steal. Bob Lanier in his 5 seasons in Milwaukee, 13.5, 6 rebounds, 2.7 assists instead of 2.9 and a steal.
Yeah, so it's not a runaway, but Lanier's
Sikma also shot 35% from 3-point range, although it wasn't an awful lot of shots.
There you go.
Well, yeah, come on.
All right. So here you go. Here's the voting. It's not the reason there was 8 people listed that kind of made the bench. You had Jack Sikma as your second team center.
Okay,
but he didn't have enough points to edge out Bob Lanier. So all right, but in any event, Bob Dandridge, who's on the bench, was Harry's
should have been
first
starting.
Yeah, and he was actually on both of our benches. So that's 5 points, but he did not have enough to be there was 7 points gotten by Marquise Johnson and by Glenn Robertson. So he had to be relegated to the bench.
Okay. Oh, Harry, you had him as
he had to be relegated to the bench, yeah.
Yeah, because he's one of the top 5 Milwaukee Bucks of all time.
And then it was a 4-way tie with the other guys. And then which we'll say in a second. And then there was 3 guys that were on the bench that just had 1 point, so they fell out of it. So
got it. Oh, okay.
Anyway. All right. So here's our bench. Bench is Bob Dandridge, Robert L. Dandridge, Greyhound. Then also, and we'll talk more about him, obviously, because you can make the argument that he should have been starting, but based on voting and other players, there you go. Also, Chris Middleton, James Christian Middleton, the man who spells Chris wrong.
Oh, he spells it like he's a Kardashian.
Oh, there you go. Then we have John McLaughlin. I'd like to show on Sunday mornings.
It was very good. I didn't realize he had such a great hook shot, too.
Exactly. So.
Wrong. The correct answer is...
Exactly. All right. Anyway, also on the bench after John.
Pretty good guitar player too, isn't he?
He was a pretty good guitar player too. Yeah, absolutely. He did a lot. This man was very talented.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know why he was bothering
his daughter was really good too. She's saving a lot of animals.
There you go.
Sarah
McLaughlin, of course. All right. Also on the bench is Mr. Vincent Lamont Baker. And rounding out the bench 5 tonight because of a tie, Jack Wayne Sikma.
There's your boy.
There's your boy right there.
Well, he made it. He made it on
the made
so.
All right. So talk about the bench. Bring up Bob Dandridge. Go ahead, Harry.
Well, Dandridge was part of that, original championship.
He was part of that. No, he was part of a great team.
Great team, and he was the second leading scorer on that team behind Jabbar. He was a big part of those teams. He's one of I think 5 people who have their number retired by the Bucks, and he's a Hall of Famer, I believe, and kind of forgotten. A lot of those guys from that era kind of get forgotten a little bit. He's not Oscar Robertson, he's not Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, so he's forgotten. But he was a big part of that team and one of the greats.
There's 9 numbers retired.
Yeah.
9 numbers retired for the Bucks. Oscar Robertson, Junior Bridgman, Sidney Moncrief, Marquise Johnson, Bob Dandridge, John McLaughlin, Sarah McLaughlin. I'm sorry. Bob Lanier, Brian Winters, and Kareem.
There you go.
Those are your retired Milwaukee Bucks. No Jack Sikma. Jack Sikma did not have his number retired. There you go. So, all right. Well, there you go. Not yet. No. Soon, possibly. It could be coming around the mountain.
Jack Sikma, I gotta go back and look through some old. I feel like he had the best knee pads.
There you go. All right. All right. On that note, that brings us to this week's Old Balls. Harry, please tell us who this week's Old Balls recipient is.
Well, you just mentioned his name. He's one of the 9 numbers that are retired by the Milwaukee Bucks. Kind of a forgotten player and somebody I thought I'd talk about because I think he was prolific in his time with the Milwaukee Bucks in an era where they were not necessarily winning championships. But I'm talking about none other than Mr. Brian Winters.
Mm-hmm.
Played for 2 years for the Lakers and then from 1975 to 1983 for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a 2-time NBA All-Star, was part of the NBA All-Rookie team, and his number 32 is retired by the Milwaukee Bucks. 10,537 points, 16.2 points per game average over a rather long career. Over 1,600 rebounds and over 4.1 assists per game. He was a guy who just seemed to be on the Milwaukee Bucks forever. He was a point guard. He was a shooting guard. He was kind of an in-between guy, a good defensive player, and somebody who was just really, really consistent. And I think the fact that the Bucks decided to retire his number shows just how local he was to these guys. He became a coach, had coached for many teams, was an assistant coach, was coached the Indiana Fever in the WNBA. It seemed like he was a perennial assistant coach. I know he spent some time here at Denver as an assistant coach in the late 90s. Was a head coach for the Vancouver Grizzlies for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's currently coaching anymore.
He's the first. It was the first coach for the Grizzlies.
He was. He's still a pretty young guy. He's 70 years old, but he had a long career, and I think the reason why he was such a good coach is because he was a role player, and they seemed to make good coaches. His basketball IQ is really, really, really high, and he's just one of those guys. When you think back to the late 70s and early 80s, I was a young kid, but I kind of remember Brian Winters being around there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, he wasn't Sidney Moncrief, but he was a guy who looked like he might literally bring a lunch pail to the arena every night. So that's this week's Old Balls recipient is none other than Mr. Brian Winters. And look, Michael Jordan singled out Brian Winters as the best pure shooter in history.
Wow.
Claiming that he had the most beautiful stroke of all the people who he could think of.
There you go.
Of course, this is before some other shooters that came into the league.
High praise.
But that's high praise for somebody who's, I don't even think to many Milwaukee Bucks fans who were under the age of 40 probably even remember this guy.
And the deal that landed him in Milwaukee was the same deal that landed Kareem in LA.
Yeah, and he was part of that deal.
Mm-hmm.
So you're welcome, LA.
There you go.
Brian Winters, this week's recipient of the Old Balls.
Old Balls. All right. There we go. Sounds like a plan. A little hockey? What do you think?
Why not? It's only 9:00.
It ain't over till it's over.
It ain't over till it's
over. Is
over.
hockey season over yet?
This weekend.
No.
This weekend. Yeah.
Last
Well,
game
every team has one or two games left.
I know.
Yeah.
I was actually watching the Avalanche the other night.
Yeah. Rangers haven't gotten any more points. So Carolina pretty much has Metropolitan wrapped up. So.
Yeah, I mean it's
pretty much they have it wrapped up. So.
6 points with 2 games left, maybe.
I'll tell you what.
One game left.
I don't want to play the Rangers in the
70,
first round.
70. Oh yeah, 81.
And 1 game left. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
there's a handful of teams that have 2 games, but actually more teams have 2 games than they have. The Kraken are the only. That's odd. The Kraken are the only team that has 3 games left. Every other team has 2 games or 1 game left. Strange.
Did they have? They have something. Oh yeah, look at that.
Strange, but
how is that possible?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But yeah, Colorado 118 points, Florida 120 points, Carolina 114 points. They've all won divisions, and of course Calgary 110. So
here's what I want to know:
divisional winners.
Nashville and Dallas have 95 points each.
Mm-hmm.
But the NHL.com has Nashville as clinching the playoff spot. And they each have 2 games left.
Head to head. At the moment.
But there's still 2 games left.
Clinch playoff spot. Yeah, you're true. You're right.
Nashville's got the X. So I don't know what's up with that. Maybe it's a boo-boo.
It could be. Well, here's the thing, too.
Because Vegas hasn't clinched a playoff spot.
Well, here's the thing, though.
They're 2 points ahead of Vancouver.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, is it 4 from each division, or is it just 8 from a conference? Because if that's the case, there's only 3 teams that clinched in the Pacific Division. Vegas is not clinched, and they have 91 points with 2 games.
Yeah, that's
left.
what I was just
Dallas
saying.
is 95 with 2 games. So Dallas wins another game, they clinch, and there's only 3 teams from.
I thought it was
Pacific.
4 from each division.
I did too, but I don't. When you think about it, it's not really. It shouldn't be because it's a conference playoffs, right?
Okay, wait a minute. Here we go. 16 teams, blah, blah, blah. The top 3 teams in each division will make up the first 12. The remaining 4 spots will be filled by the next 2 highest placed finishers in each conference.
There you go.
Okay. So, right. So
there you go. So Dallas wins another game.
Vegas and Vancouver are all up for 2.
Vancouver's not. Vancouver's out because there's 2 points per game, right? So.
Oh wait. No. I'm sorry. So there's 1.
The only way Vegas
wins. 1
wins.
playoff spot left. So Vegas and Dallas.
Yeah. If Dallas loses their 2 games and Vegas wins their 2 games, I'm assuming the reason that nobody's clinched yet is that head to head for those 2 put notch Vegas up. So Dallas wins 1 more game, they're in. Vegas is out.
Okay.
Should be a good playoffs.
It should be. I'm really hoping for some odd reason that it's Colorado and the Rangers, the Avalanche and the Rangers in the Cup. That would be we'd definitely be talking more hockey than we ever really do on the show if that were the case.
We should see.
Yeah.
Hey, look, in hockey news, I think worth noting, Austin Matthews became the first U.S.-born player in NHL history to score 60 goals in a season, and the first person to do it since, I think, 2011, 2012. And, in keeping with 60-goal scorers, I think another thing to note is we lost a great one, too young of an age last week. Mike Bossy of the Islanders.
We mentioned that.
Quite possibly one of the most underrated players in NHL history. 5 times Mike Bossy scored 60 or more goals.
Yep.
And without a doubt, the greatest Islander of all time. And one of the greatest hockey players of all time. I don't think people really remember how good those Islanders team. That line with Trottier and Bossy and Bobby Nystrom was I don't care what you say. One of the top 3 or 4 lines, maybe the number 1 line of all time.
Yeah, it was really good. 4 cups in a row. I mean, how can it not be one of the greatest lines?
It's sad, and and look, they sort of handed it over to Wayne Gretzky and everything that he did. I mean, of course, Gretzky, 92 goals in a season. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
But Mike Bossy, I don't know if there's anybody who has more 60 goal seasons. I think he might hold the record for that.
Yeah.
And sad condolences to Islander Nation and to his family, but a young guy battling some, illness, and we lost a great one.
And don't forget Guy Lafleur last week.
Yeah, and Guy Lafleur as well. I mean, that was a little bit, I think he had been ill for a little while. But how old was Guy Lafleur? Wasn't he like 92?
He's an older guy, older. Yeah. He was up there, but
one of the best.
It doesn't matter. Still sucks.
Yeah, one of the best ever. And look, I'm going to go on the record. I'm rooting for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I just I really want to see one of the original. It would be nice to see a Canadian hockey team battling for the cup and not some American team that's out of Phoenix, Florida, or their town.
And now
that's named after a natural disaster.
And while I hear what you're saying, I thought you were going to say you really would like to see one of the original 6.
Yeah, well, other than
you know what? I mean, I would too, but it's the Rangers.
Yeah,
so
whatever. As much as Mets and Jets fans are annoying, nothing's more annoying than a Rangers fan. Nothing. And I love many of them. It's just I will root for them. But come on, how could you not want Toronto to finally win one? It's crazy.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. If it's not Toronto, I don't know who I'm rooting for. Certainly not the Rangers.
Right. And Montreal and Arizona are tied for the worst record. Worst points, worst place in the league this year.
Dallas is leading Arizona by a goal with about 10 minutes.
Guy Lafleur would not be happy
No, he would not
with this current state of the Habs.
I guess
he was only 70, Guy Lafleur. Why did I think he was so much older?
Oh, yeah, I thought he was a little older too.
Yeah.
I think he was that much older, but I thought he was a little older. What's that?
Maybe I'll root for Minnesota.
They have a hockey team still?
Weren't they in the finals of
the North Stars, right?
Wild.
I guess
I know. Is Bobby Smith still playing for him?
Well, the North Stars are still playing.
Yes, they're just in Dallas. They're in
Dallas, and they dropped the North. So,
yeah,
but yeah, no. Hey, you know what? Root for Minnesota.
I might, because Toronto. I'd love to see Toronto win. I wouldn't be sorry at all. But if I root for them, they won't.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So Florida's going to be tough. I mean, they're just.
I have to admit, even though I live on Long Island, I'm not a Long Islander, by nature.
Right.
And so I have I have more, I guess, more affection for the Rangers, because where I grew up, we were Rangers fans. Although I wasn't a hockey fan,
And then the Devils moved to Jersey, and I was like, hey, new team around, I'll be a Devils fan. And that was pretty much the extent of it. So I certainly have no love for the Islanders.
Right.
But I do kind of like Tampa Bay because they always beat up the Islanders in the conference finals or whatever the hell it is. So I kind of like that about them. But I think I'm going to root for Minnesota.
Who do you think's the best team, Florida or Colorado?
Colorado.
Probably Florida.
I'm going to say Colorado.
I think a slight advantage to Florida, although I think Colorado's got a tougher schedule.
Yeah.
But
I like the way Colorado was playing the whole season. Florida was up and down, and they came on obviously strong, really down the stretch. But they were they are a great team. But
hey, look, the Minnesota Wild 8-1-1 in their last 10.
Yep. Yeah. So
they're peaking at the right time.
Yeah.
They are. All these Minnesota teams are.
Maybe the Timberwolves will actually beat the Grizzlies. Maybe the Wild actually move on to do well in the playoffs, and this becomes a Minnesota year, which means the Twins got to actually do something, and maybe the Vikings actually pull together this year. So.
Yeah, I don't think any of that's going to happen.
Probably not.
Okay,
no, probably not. But I figured I'd say it just to see reaction.
Picking out loud.
There you go. And but yeah, just looking at it, the one of the original six. Here we go. The only one of the original six that you would like, obviously, would be the Maple Leafs, because you don't want between the Rangers fans and you root for them. The Blackhawks and the Bruins are out. The Blackhawks and the Red Wings are out, but the Bruins are in, and I'm sure you don't want the
original six is Detroit, Boston, Montreal, Toronto, the Rangers, and Blackhawks.
Mm-hmm. But
and the Ducks,
and
the Ducks,
yeah.
And all right, so the
Hurricanes.
Minnesota North Stars lost to the Penguins in the finals in '91.
Right. That was
and
the last
they
time.
were also runners-up to the Islanders in '81.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's.
I mean, can we get a Calgary Flames, Toronto Maple Leafs?
Wouldn't that be great?
There you go.
Oh, that would be so great.
They'll bring Lanny McDonald back and hoist his mustache up to the rafters.
I think that's Minnesota's playoff history.
There you go.
Not good.
There you go.
Not good.
And then looking at this, the Canadiens actually were formed in 1909 and joined the NHL in 1917, as well as the Maple Leafs joined the NHL in 1917. So the Bruins didn't join till 24, and the Blackhawks, Red Wings, and Rangers joined in 26. So that means that for 7 years, the Canadiens and the Maple Leafs played each other. Kidding. There were other teams. There were the teams they played, not in the NHL, but in the NHL.
You got some old school teams. You got Calgary and Edmonton. You got Toronto, the Rangers, the Penguins. The Capitals are always there.
Right.
We could see some old school.
Could see a little old school. Sure.
Hey, sure.
I mean, when was the last time we saw the Oilers or the Flames go deep into the playoffs?
There you go.
It's been a while.
You know what that means, right? You do know what that means, right?
None of these teams are going to win.
No, the Lightning's
going to be the Nashville Predators versus the, fucking knows.
Versus
Florida fucking
or
Disney
Tampa Bay or
Nice or whatever they're called.
Or St. Louis.
Well, St. Louis is an old school team.
Yeah, the Blues have been around a while.
All right, who's the team we want to win the least?
That are going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah,
honestly, for me, it's the Lightning. They've won enough. They've won enough. It's like Brady. They've won enough.
I'm going to say Nashville just because there should not be hockey in Nashville, and you should never name your team the Predators.
Well, let's see.
And fuck Vegas.
Wait, Tennessee has 3 professional sports teams.
What is the playoff situation in the Eastern Division here?
What do you mean?
Carolina, Rangers, Pittsburgh, Washington.
Right.
Florida,
Florida, Toronto, Tampa Bay,
Boston. Boston would be the team I want to see win.
Boston.
Least.
Boston. Your cousin
Fuck
from
those
Boston.
Guys. Yeah, screw those guys.
There you go. I figured you'd feel that way.
I don't know. I want to see a Vancouver Canucks, Ottawa Senators. Both are eliminated, so it's not going to happen.
Well, not this year.
I want to see a Toronto
top 10 Calgary Flames of all time.
I want to see a Quebec Nordiques and Hartford Whalers.
The Whalers, the Quebec Nordiques are now the Colorado Avalanche.
They're the Colorado Avalanche, yeah.
But the Hartford Whalers, maybe the best sports logo of all time. Just saying. Only because it kind of looked like a Fudgy the Whale.
Yeah.
Didn't kind of look like a Fudgy the Whale. It was a Fudgy the Whale.
Which came first?
Exactly.
Hartford Whalers logo or Fudgy the Whale?
Hartford Whalers.
Hartford Whalers.
There you go. Absolutely. That might have been. I went to a hockey game. This is Tom Coville.
Didn't Burger King have a sandwich for a while there? The Whaler.
The Whaler. The Whaler. Absolutely. But
made with real whale.
Yeah, it was
made with real whale meat.
Made with beluga whale.
Let me ask you a question. Was there ever a whale in Hartford, Connecticut?
That was probably sure. Wasn't there? Bring the
one jumped out of Long Island Sound and landed all the way in Hartford.
Bring your whale to
There's a creek that was much bigger back in the day, and
whaling.
They
took the Amtrak.
No, it swam up the Housatonic River and got to Hartford.
They all went to Yale.
Yeah. Right, exactly. And just to your point too, the Nordiques obviously are now the Avalanche, but the Whalers are your favorite Carolina team. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Hartford, tough place to have a pro sports team.
There you go. Great logo, and the initials of the team were in the Well logo too. So that's a beautiful thing.
Maybe my favorite.
That's a good logo.
That and the Milwaukee Brewers. Love those logos.
Yeah, the glove that says MB in it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There you go. So, all right, cool. There you go. All right, let's talk about your pickleball report. There.
All right, pickleball. Yeah. So last week we talked about Kent Merker. Mm-hmm. Solid career as a pitcher, a pretty good career actually, and was now in a pickleball player and playing in the Minto U.S. Open Pickleball Championships. He's in the men's doubles age 50+ division, by the way.
There you go.
There's a lot of now. If you go to,
do they play pickleball on a yacht, on a cruise ship? Where do they? Where is pickleball?
Yeah, but you can't hit it too hard, or else it goes.
It goes in the water, and then they have to dive in.
If you go to
the whole thing.
Let's see, HTTPS, and then there's the 2 dots. Mm-hmm. Ampersand, is that called? No.
Colon.
Oh, a colon. Then there's 2 slashes.
Backslash.
Then there's
backslash.
1, 2.
3 W's.
We'll post this on the.
It looks like 6 V's, and then .pickleballtournaments.com.
Yep, I'm on it.
So if you go there, I probably.
I'm on ESPN right now, and I'm in the other category.
They have a lot of divisions in the pickleball tournaments. Anyway,
I mean, it's not even.
No, it doesn't make the top 10.
NBA G League. No,
it's the Minto U.S. Open Pickleball Championship, right?
There's not much. That like their sponsor is water. Just water. So.
Not Poland Spring. Just
no
free water.
Yeah, just like
turning your tap. That's the sponsor.
White label, no name supermarket to begin with.
Drinking water.
Drinking water. Yeah. So as it turns out, Kent Merker is not nearly as good a pickleball player as he is or was a pitcher. So
is he out already?
Oh yeah. So round 1, Kent Merker and Daniel Eddingfield, some great names in this tournament, took on Don Kirkconnell, and it's Orestes Baez. I think that's just his last name. When it's his last name with a hyphen, they just
all last name. Yeah, right.
Either that or maybe Orestes is his first name. And they lost.
Dash is his middle initial?
Maybe. And they lost. It was 11-8. They won the second game 9-11, and then they lost the third game 11-4. So the Baez-Kirk Connell team moved on, and they won their next round, and then they lost in the semis, as a matter of fact.
There you go.
So anyway, so the gold medal went to Bill Brown and Darren Peterson. Michael Nelson and Tony Crouch won the silver, and the bronze went to Blev Levine and Christian Bonert, or Bonnert. Now, Kent Merker and his partner, Daniel Eddingfield,
Winchestertonville.
Yeah. It's one of those guys from, was it Family Guy with the big jaws? Yeah.
Right,
anyway,
yeah.
You know what I mean? They went to the consolation bracket, where they promptly lost to the Leonard Pakinowski team.
That's Pakinow.
The one guy's name is Leonard, and the other guy's name is Pakinowski.
Leonard Pakinowski.
Or you could just
call him Leonard Pakinowski.
Combine them and get everything you need to know about pickleball from that name.
Hey, Leonard Pakinowski.
So,
Picklnowski.
And this, I guess, is just a game to 15, and they lost 15-6. So they got stomped. Yep. Now, the Leonard Pakinowski team did go all the way to the finals.
Did they win?
The consolation bracket.
Where
they lost to the third place Levine Bonert team.
Gotcha. And who won the championship?
Bracket. So the championship, I got to go back to the winners bracket.
It doesn't matter.
Was won by Bill Brown and Darren Peterson.
Oh, that's no fun. Bill Brown and Darren Peterson.
And, I have no idea who any of these people are. But let me just read you some of these names.
And now you don't either.
No. Robert Chanolis.
So he doesn't have any Chanel?
Maybe not.
Baker Mayfield.
No, let me see. This one guy was named Molnar.
Colin Kaepernick.
I don't know what his first name was.
His name is what?
Molnar.
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 Maybe that's just his name.
Molnar the Great.
You know, like Beldar. It's Molnar.
I don't know. Here's what it says. So
he's like the Kobayashi of pickleball.
Then it says the 13th seed. Then it says Molnar, comma. Then it's Florin-Bixler, comma, and then Rob.
Rob.
I don't know what the first name is. I don't know what the last name is. I have no idea.
Just some guy named Rob. That's how he signed
up.
A
guy named Rob.
When he signed, see what it is it's kind of a loose registration. When he signed up, he just put his first name, Rob.
I don't know if it's Rob and his brother Molnar.
Put his $20 bill in his form to fill out. He got his number and he's playing.
They're the Florin-Bixler twins. I have no idea.
There you go.
But,
so prerequisite to play pickleball, you must have a hard to pronounce name unless your name is Rob or Molnar.
Yeah. Now, there's also a Bob Pakinowski.
Oh, brothers?
Don't know. Probably. And here's the best one. I'm going to do one more because we have talked about great nicknames and stuff.
Sure.
And I'm going to assume this is a nickname because Bob Pakinowski's partner is Baby Hands Leonard.
All right.
Which in and of itself is reason enough.
Note to self, song idea, pickleball, Baby Hands Leonard.
Baby Hands Leonard.
Baby Hands Leonard. Yeah.
You got
So there you go. Between Orestes Baez, Don Cook Connell, Daniel Eddingfield, and Baby Hands Leonard, with a couple of Pakinowskis and then some guy named Molnar. And you've got yourself a pickleball tournament.
Daniel Eddingtonfield from Winchestertonfieldville.
Yeah. So again, the gold, Bill Brown and Darren Peterson, congratulations. Michael Nelson and Tony Crouch, the silver, and Lev Levine and Christian Bonert, the best of the losers.
There you go. All right. Fair enough. Sounds like a good tournament to watch. Wish I did.
Listen, if Kent Merker
was it on the Ocho?
It was on the Nocho.
The Nocho. It was on the Nacho.
It's on the Nacho.
ESPN Nacho.
And as a matter of fact, I think I read the tournament actually goes on till the 30th. So we
already have a champion.
There are now. Let me see.
Mixed doubles.
I believe so.
Yeah, like I said, there are a lot of.
I'm going to need to enter the pickle shot championship after this report.
There are a lot of
You should have been taking a few already.
Yes.
Divisions in here. Like you got singles and doubles, you got pro singles, and they have 35 plus, 55 plus, like 70 plus. It's a game for all ages and all skill levels.
It is. It is.
They
It
all
really
come
is.
together for a massive tournament. And like I said, I think it's going on till the 30th, so there might be a couple of rounds left.
There you go. Good fun.
Good clean
fun.
Can't find. Oh, here we go. Nope, that's not it.
By the way,
can't find the homepage.
To anybody in Congress who needs information or material for a filibuster,
just pull that page.
Oh
up.
yeah. Just consult with Pete.
Come on, Baby Hands Leonard was.
Baby Hands Leonard was great.
Baby Hands Leonard.
That's got to be the new log song. You got to write that and record that.
Baby Hands Leonard. And
that will be the opening theme to the show.
That's right.
Baby Hands Leonard. There you go.
It's always just out of reach.
Just too far. Oops, almost at it.
Yeah, now here's the thing.
Don't tell him to squeeze.
Let's see, 26, 27. Yeah, we've got events tomorrow. Oh, now there's also, it looks like tomorrow, mixed women's events tomorrow, and the para pickleball events are going on tomorrow as well.
Interesting.
Everything looks bigger with Baby Hands Leonard.
You've got 35 plus and like women's skills / age doubles, 35 plus.
Baby Hands Leonard, plus. When you want to feel better. Baby Hands Leonard, reaching around the pickle since 1997.
You ever see that SNL bit with what's her face?
Dunice?
Kristen Wiig?
Yeah, with the bubbles.
And I'm Dunice. That's Baby Hands Leonard's wife.
Baby Hands Leonard's wife. Exactly.
Clausen Giants. A pickle that Baby Hands Leonard needs 2 hands to handle.
Baby Hands Leonard.
Now, here's another interesting thing to me.
We're so good.
This is horrible.
Courts, listen to this. Events tomorrow, starting at 8 a.m. On courts 1 through 27.
Oh my God.
There's free pistols for anybody who wants to kill themselves.
They have a whole bunch of stuff. Wait, now get this.
I feel like watching the USFL.
Courts 1 through 27.
Yes.
There's women's blah blah blah.
Is the first 8 of the games happening at the same time?
At the same time.
Is this played outdoor on grass like Wimbledon?
No, it's played like on a tennis court.
It's played outdoors with everybody playing on grass.
Or you can play it on the inside.
Where is the pickleball championship?
I don't know, but on courts 28 through 59, there are 60 courts in play.
60. There's more than 60 people partaking in this?
No, there's 4 people per court. That's 240 people partaking at any one time.
1 through 27 court assignments, 28 through 59, and CC. I don't know what the CC stands for.
Carbon copy.
Carbon copy. So maybe they're not all full. Maybe 1 through 8 are full. But why wouldn't you just use 1 through 27?
Sure.
They're using 59 courts and then some other courts.
It's in Palm Springs. It's in Indian Wells. Next year we should go to the pickleball championships.
It's powered by Margaritaville.
It is. It seems kind of hot right now to be in
we should definitely go, and our first interview has to be with Baby Hands Leonard.
He's hard to get.
I don't know. It's hard for him to get.
What is the average age of a pickleball player?
Leonard, hold this mic.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You have all these categories. You got
there's mixed. This is an intergender sport.
Oh yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got 19 plus, 35 plus, 60 plus, 50 plus. So I
want to watch the 90 plus games.
I mean, theoretically, you could have a 20-year-old playing against a 75-year-old, right?
That seems fair.
If they were playing in the 19 plus.
You're right. Everybody has a weird name. So here's the men: Deckel Barr, Grant Bond, Wesley Burrows, Frank Anthony Davis, Callan Dawson, Morgan Evans, Joey Farias, Jack Foster, Brandon French, Wesley Gabrielson, Dane Gingrich, J.W. Johnson, Eric Lang. I don't see Baby Hands Johnson on here, though.
He's done.
He's done. He finished. He lost.
Well, this is just a list of all the players.
And listen, this goes on. The last day is the 30th
of June.
So, no, of this month.
Gotcha.
So there are 3 more days of this going on. If you can find it somewhere, I'm going to see. Someone has to be covering this.
It's on ESPN the Nacho. You said, right?
Yeah, the Nocho.
The Nacho. ESPN the Nuevo.
2,745 registered players.
Well, the average age, I think, is like 72, so that's why it has to be played in Palm Springs in April, so the temperatures remains above 112 at all times.
No, you know what's funny? I do the weather reports, and sometimes I fill in for other people, and there's another guy I filled in for a couple of times, and Palm Springs, some station in Palm Springs, an oldie station, surprisingly, is on his list. And I did it over a couple times last summer, and it's a minute-long weathercast, which is really hard to do, to fill a whole minute. But the real problem is the entire forecast every day is high of 108,
low of 45,
clear skies, high of 108, and then at night a low of 82.
Windy, yeah.
No wind, no rain, no clouds. Clear, 100 plus, and at night clear, 80 to 85.
Yeah.
Day after day after. The first time I did it, I went, oh, this has got to be a fluke. Just a really good week. And then I did it a few weeks later. Same thing.
There's a pickleball university.
Of course there is.
Really?
All right, I'm about to fall asleep.
All right. Do we have an over under?
Nope.
We know over under tonight. I just want to say, by the way, this is the I just found the actual picture of the pickle they use for pickleball. So.
Why is it called pickleball?
I think because of the paddle, or maybe the ball has bumps on it. There's a lot about the sport I don't know.
They marinate the.
That's right.
The pickle.
You get a paddle and a ball with bumps on it. Sounds great.
Never mind. Forget it. I can't do it. Anyway, it was a joke, but I can't find it. So.
By the way, the USFL has started, and I think they've already played 2 games.
2 games each, yeah.
Yeah.
They got 8
has
left.
Been lousy, but.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to go to Birmingham to watch a game, so unless the same people are going to every game, it's going to be lousy.
Well, that's it.
A lot of competition. You can either go to Birmingham or go to Palm Springs and watch pickleball.
I personally would rather go to watch pickleball.
Who
doesn't want to watch baby hands Leonard run around the court
after Leonard, baby hands Leonard
with playing against Molnar.
Well, listen, if you
got no chance when you're playing a fucking. I mean, Molnar beat Godzilla a few times.
Exactly.
Oh man, we missed the. Oh, maybe this is next month. There is a Kosher Dills Spring 2022 tournament.
Folks, you can't make this up.
Boy,
didn't Wilt Chamberlain play in the pickleball championship?
No, wait. Do you have to be kosher to play in it, or is it just a pickle?
Absolutely not.
It doesn't hurt, but I don't think it's a requirement.
I gotcha. All right.
Is baby hands Leonard can't be real. I feel like it's a Zach Galifianakis character.
That would be great if it was.
No, he didn't get out. No, they did get out of the first round. They lost to Nelson and Crouch.
Nelson and Crouch.
Let me say,
wasn't that a movie? Crouching Nelson,
Crouching Tiger, hidden baby hands,
hidden Nelson.
Yeah,
there's a link to the. There's a link to the winners bracket.
Oh God!
And you'll find baby hands Nelson.
So what's with the Kosher Dill tournament? What was that?
The Kosher Dills Spring tournament.
I'm sorry, folks. On behalf of sanity and logic, I'm very sorry.
Listen,
I'm sorry. Anybody who stumbles across this, I'm sorry to myself for doing this. Sorry to make you sit through an hour of pickleball.
Oh, but it's been great though.
Anyway, listen,
At least I didn't open the show with it.
This is true. This is very true. All right.
We might be missing out on something. We could probably, if we hashtag pickleball, get a couple listeners, and maybe even our first guest could be Baby Hands Johnson.
I think Baby Hands Leonard. Baby Hands Johnson. Baby Hands Johnson.
Leonard, Baby Hands.
And we'll get Kristen Wiig on for that. There you go.
I guess they got to tape the paddle.
This is so wrong.
Terrible.
Welcome to the Get On With It Sports Podcast.
You won't hear this on
home of
First
Baby
Take.
Hands Leonard.
You won't hear this on First Take.
There's no other podcast that covers this.
Not at all.
I really think tomorrow Chris Mad Dog Russo is going to do at least 40 minutes on pickleball,
and he's going to open
high heat.
He's going to be opening, interviewing Baby Hands Leonard.
Probably anybody could get him on.
Well, Molnar actually. Molnar is going to be first.
Yeah, that's right. Molnar Florin Bixler Rob.
That's his given name.
His real name is Chuck James.
His real name is Joe Smith. Hey.
Sounds like a fourth generation divorce.
Good
All
stuff.
Right. Good stuff. You can't beat that. All right. On that note, on that glorious note, we will wrap up the show for today. We want to thank everybody for watching. And for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.getonwithitpodcast.com. That's getonwithitpodcast.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for the Get On With It podcast. And, of course, all of our shows are available on YouTube as well on the Logger Room channel. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday evening at around 7:30 Eastern Time. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcast, and iHeartRadio as well. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Watch the end of the regular hockey season. Keep watching the basketball playoffs, and, of course, MLB. And don't forget, tomorrow is round 1 of the 2022 NFL Draft. And we will talk to you later, folks. Take care. Cheers.
Go Florin Molnar.
Poor Kent Merker.